The following podcast is recorded and produced by Emerge, a media creators co-op.
Hello, everybody.
My name is Joshua Clark.
And welcome to the Trap7 Sports Podcast. I am your host,
Joshua Clark.
Joshua Duke Clark.
Duke Dynast. Oh, my bad.
Duke the Trash.
I was just going to call him Joey Trash, right? You just fucked it all
Thank
up.
God.
Just
My
fucked it
man,
all
I
Billy.
up.
couldn't believe you didn't respond to that when I said that to you in the
People-
message.
So anyway, to my left,
That's going to his name in my phone is going to be Duke the Trash.
I'm the best. That whatever you want
Not
to talk
according to his
about.
own. Every time you call me, it's going to tell me how
Brett
trash
the
you
Hitman
are.
Hart over here. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there
ever
ever will be.
Who cares about this guy to my left? To my right, taking up for his injured brother, who's 10 years younger, but with the body of an 80-year-old.
16 years younger.
16 years younger with the body of an 80-year-old.
That's OT.
How you doing, man?
I'm
Billy.
all right.
We're
How
a
are you?
Bears podcast now. Bears and Bills, man. Packers are out.
The Packers are on the disabled list.
Yeah.
The Bears stepped up.
I like it.
So, yeah, anyway, it was going to be a really cool episode with you guys fighting over the NFC North over here, but you just get to talk your shit now, and Harry can watch tomorrow and just cry about it.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is that even while I say something or talk about whether it's the Packers or Bears, I already know in my head what Harry would respond.
He should just have you, like, doing two different voices. But, all right, well, so what we're going to do...
Dialogue.
Yeah, just... Packers Jordan Lawson and win MVP.
Yeah. Like I could say, oh, the Bears
Why you
got
say it like
the
that?
Bears have this starting lineup.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $100. That's all I heard when you said
I
that.
love Harry's the most logical sports fan ever, and he's like, I'm not a homer at all. And the dude's such a homer. It's awesome.
Well, the
It's
best
awesome.
part is the other day, because last year I had mentioned, Harry and I talk about who do you think is going to be like a coming out of the closet, the dark horse, who's going to come in and win when everyone thinks like, that everyone was all on the Eagles last year. And I said, dude, it isn't going to be the Eagles. It's going to be a team like the Niners. So we had that conversation. So I asked him the other day, I said, who do you think is going to be the surprise team this year? And he goes, I don't like being a homer. He goes, but the pack. He goes, Jordan Love is like our defense. He's like, I'm so amped for this season. And I was like, okay, I could see it. I could totally see it.
He did play well. Jordan Love
He really
plays
did.
amazing, man.
Played poised.
Yeah, he's gotta get paid.
Just amazing. It was horrible for me to see another Packer quarterback come in and just go bing bing
Yeah.
bing. I'm like, oh jeez.
And the receiving core isn't like, they might be pretty good.
Well, they can gel together and grow
Yeah.
together. That's the good thing.
Defense looks good.
All right, so we're going to go team by team through, and then at the end we will give our predictions. So we'll start with the Bears since you're here.
All right.
Just to go over their major moves. Obviously in the draft, number 1 pick, Caleb Williams, 3 firsts, and T.J. Watt is what they should have gave up for him. Roma
Real
Dunze.
quick.
Yeah.
The Caleb Williams deal was pretty good too.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
what he signed.
that was, and then that's good to see too because that allows for future moves. Plus, I think they still have. I think I saw 13.6 million left on the cap this year,
Right.
so they can still try to find that interior D lineman where I feel like we don't have depth.
I'm not a fan of the fully guaranteed though. I don't think I like
Aren't
that.
all rookie contracts fully guaranteed?
No, are they?
They're not.
No,
I don't think so.
I
I don't
they
think
were.
so.
His is.
Yeah, but it's
It's
small.
only 50
not like
million
it's
or
not,
something
yeah,
like
it's
that.
not like
46
Deshaun
million.
Watson.
Right,
Maybe it's
right.
because you just never get cut if you're a first-round pick.
Well, if you're the number 1 overall pick,
Yeah,
there's
no one.
chance of
But
you
no
getting
one's
cut.
cutting their first-round picks anyway. Man, that's why I thought it was guaranteed because you're gonna get 4 years.
Yeah.
Even if you suck the first 3 years, someone's gonna give you that 4th year. If you're a first-round talent, they're just desperate for you to
The
be
Bears
good.
are the perfect
They're
example.
never
Look
gonna
what
cut
happened
you.
with Justin Fields.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
could have gave him they're like, no. And then they trade him away for a 6th-round pick, conditional to
I
be
think-
4th. It's like,
I still think that was because they decided they're going with Caleb, which you guys had to.
which I
but
agree.
I think
That's
it's
what
good
they
for-
wanted to.
Well, I think they just got rid of him for free because they don't want to put that on Caleb when he comes in. There's not another
Right.
young quarterback that's already been starting. You know what I mean? He's just walking into his job.
The big
and
thing
that's
is
it.
that
Yeah.
I think it's one of those regime things. Poles wanted his quarterback
Right.
versus having
That makes sense too,
You
yeah.
know, the Pace era. Just he's gone. That was your pick. You and Matt Nagy. Blah
God
blah
bless.
blah.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
it
over.
closes-
It's over with. Closes the door.
Yeah.
All the big contracts are gone, except for the moves that they made, like to get Montez Sweat.
And you guys did right by him when he got Keenan Allen. Like that to me, that's I like that the most.
That's why I laugh when people are like, oh man, you guys only got like a few picks. It's like, no, if you slot in those draft picks, like you got Bates from the Bills, you got Keenan from the there's your 4th and 5th round picks right there, and now Bates is going to start.
I believe it.
And I think that the thing with trading Fields, they might have been able to shop for more, but it's just like, just close the chapter.
Yep.
That's it.
The previous fucking 3 administrations in Chicago were so like, I don't even know how to describe.
It's been horrible.
No consistency, terrible picks, and it's like since Poles came in, I mean, we said it last year when you came on. I love the moves you guys made last year, so it's just like since he's gotten there, you guys look like a competent organization.
Yeah, they're
it's
literally
like, get rid of
making the
Fields.
strides each year. So I told Harry, no matter what the sport is, just like we mentioned. I know it's sidebar, but the Celtics, like
We were gonna get there.
it was all of this. Tatum in the 3rd round or the 3rd pick. Jalen was the 3rd pick. Like they kept building these things. 2016, 2017. Then you make the finals, and even though they choked, they got back, and then they finally. It's just there's a almost like a blueprint, so to speak, to get there.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like the Bears are finally doing. I had the opportunity to actually meet the McCaskies when they played the Bills in 2018. A friend of mine was the head chef at a hotel, and he's like, hey, we're going to be serving breakfast. Do you want to come in and serve smoothies for a little while? And I'm like, sure. I was like, what's the catch? He goes, you get to hang out with the Bears. I was like, what? So had a chance to talk to them, at the time, Trubisky and all these guys, Eddie Jackson, everybody was just on fire. And now you see literally 1 year you can be on top of the world, the next year you're out the door. These guys are lucky they're still playing.
Yeah. So you got Caleb, obviously, Roma Dunze with the 9th pick, and then you had 3 middle round. Like you said, you traded some picks for Keenan Allen, Ryan Bates, and then I cannot pronounce this guy's name, a tackle out of Yale in the 3rd round, but you got an A- from CBS Sports on that guy.
He's
Torrey Taylor, the punter, and then Austin Booker, the D lineman, and then I'll run through free agency. DeAndre Swift, running back. Jalen Johnson re-signed. Brett Ripon. Did you guys have him already?
No.
No. Back up. Matt Pryor, Gerald Everett, and Kevin Beard.
Gerald Everett too.
Yeah.
Oh, and Jonathan Owens as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the offseason, I mean, if Caleb Williams has even a decent rookie year, it's an A-plus offseason. I mean, you guys have already one of the best receiving corps in the NFL, if not the best, depending on how much you get out of Keenan, how much you get out of Rome in his first year.
Did you hear what you just said?
I know.
Do you know what, Chicago's usually a place where receivers go to die.
No one's ever thrown over 4,000 yards, right?
I still, when someone says, I think you guys got the best receiving corps, and
yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking to me, I start thinking Jerry Rice, John Taylor. To me, to see Keenan Allen, I mean, obviously Adunze hasn't done anything yet. Those were the 2 picks that I wanted. I was happy as could be. When Atlanta didn't take him, I was ecstatic. I'm like, here it comes. This is exactly what I wanted.
Where did Atlanta go?
Penix.
Oh yeah.
So
So fucking stupid.
I'm not sure that I like the
Idiots.
full house backfield right now. I kind of wish they would. Herbert's been solid. He's a great steady runner. He's not gonna light up the scoreboard, but he's consistent. He'll get you the 3-4 yards.
Wait, who?
For the Bears.
Swift?
Khalil Herbert.
Oh, Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, so
I
you
thought
have
said Swift.
no.
I was like, dude,
Swift,
that dude will do some shit.
I hate Swift.
See, yes, Swift for me is great because he's he'll run and catch. I've been saying it for a while. I love Roshan, man. I want to really see what happens if one takes over, fine. But for me, I just think now you're Herbert standing there at 3rd string. Like, really? I wish they kind of would have moved him for another pick, but it is what it is right now.
Yeah, other than I'm not a huge fan of your guys' running backs. I do like Roshan Johnson. I thought maybe give him a spot to develop, and maybe he still will. But I'm not a fan of Swift, man. He had that one really good year, and just has been hurt, up and down play.
Yeah.
Vision looked crazy bad at the end of last year. I'm not a Swift fan, but still, that's an upgrade from what you guys had last year.
100%.
And Caleb should come out crazy. I mean, he should be. If you guys were in another division, you guys should win the division. I mean,
yeah.
obviously not the West. You're not better than the Niners, but
It's going to be competitive, that division. I
it
think
is.
so.
It's going to be really.
I really want to. I want to see it become the black and blue division again. I really want to see them beat the hell out of each other. And for me, it's everybody believed in the Lions, and the Lions were legit, but they still didn't get to the promised land. Like everyone kept saying, oh, they're going to the Super Bowl. I really believed in the Niners last year. Of course, the Chiefs, do what they do, but you still look at that Lions offense, and if they have any type of a solid defense, it's tough to go against them. The Packers still have to prove themselves. The Bears still have to prove themselves. It sounds great. Like I said, I go look at all the names that I wrote down and the things that I know about each team, but the Lions literally. I think if that game in the playoffs is at home, I think they would. I think they win.
We'll get to the Lions, but so like the Bears, they win the South, right? Like I would probably take them to win the South.
That's the Saints in them.
Yeah.
I mean, I get like you're not beating the Eagles, you're not beating the Niners, but I don't know. You're competing for second place at least in every division.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you could. Who's the
you
best?
Still will compete. You will compete for second in the North. I don't think you're going to get it,
right.
But it's
going to be a tight race.
Yeah, you guys have depth in the backfield and not
the defense is looking promising.
Back end of the defense. Yeah, you got Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, Jonathan Owens isn't even going to be a starter for you guys most likely. I don't really see a huge weakness on this team outside of youth and maybe depth. Like maybe you guys need a little bit more depth, and you obviously need more experience. Outside of Keenan Allen on the offense, you don't have really much at all.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to be there that long. If he's there for 2 years, I'll be surprised. Just at this point of his career,
just to help Caleb
get Caleb
rolling.
Go rolling.
Yep.
Get Dunze going because and Tyler Scott. People keep forgetting about him. That guy. I watched a throw Caleb made yesterday to him. On the dime, like just a beautiful throw, and it was, like in my head as I'm watching this, if I were to talk about it, Harry would be like, "Yeah, it's against the Bears defense." So, but it was on Gordon, but it was perfect coverage. The only thing that beat that perfect coverage was a perfect throw, and when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, Caleb, man, please be able to do this when you have the game on the line or the real deals going on." So, I'm excited. I've been waiting for a long time. The last time I was this excited, the Bears went to the Super Bowl, and then Rex Grossman, basically died on the field.
Do you think you guys have a shot to make the Super Bowl?
Not this year.
No.
If we do,
small shot.
If we do,
tiny bit.
No.
Come on.
No, you got to.
There's always got to be a chance.
You got to be realistic.
What if Caleb is just better than Pat Mahomes?
I mean, if you want me
and
to,
then you guys just step into the Super Bowl and win.
Is it possible? Sure. Is it likely? No.
Do you have a chance?
But do you want me to do so you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah.
No.
Hell yeah.
I would love to see it. But I'm a realist. I'm realistic about it. I want to see them just improve. Like you're bringing in a rookie quarterback into the NFL.
Even if he plays like C.J. Stroud, I think you guys have a small chance to do some shit.
But see, that's exactly
That's
it.
a huge if.
C.J. Stroud played.
I just said if.
He played well, right? How far did they get? Did they go to the Super Bowl?
No.
That's what I'm saying. It's a step.
Got
it's
smacked by the Ravens.
It's a step. It's a progression. Make the playoffs.
You guys are making the playoffs?
I think we can make the playoffs.
I think you guys are locked into a playoff spot.
Locked in.
Wow.
I wish Harry was here.
Wow.
Locked in.
Yeah, I was gonna say Harry would be like.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to talk about.
I didn't mean division. I think.
Yeah, they can make it as a
So
wild card.
when we're done going through all the teams, we'll pick our division picks. But you got to think.
I would say 70%.
The NFC is not as bad as it was last year, though.
I don't know, man. Let's talk about it right now.
So I mean, I don't. Well, I want to save the division picks for the end.
Okay.
But let's say the Bears come in second or third, right?
Okay.
Let's say Lions win again or Packers win
I guess
or whatever.
if they come in third, though, that means the second team.
So
I take it back. I recant my statement. I'm not gonna say locked
technically 3 teams can make it from one division.
if the NFC was as bad as it was
though.
last year, I would say with this roster, yes. But I mean, I think the Rams are going to be even a little bit better than they were last year. I really think the Cardinals have it. I'm not going to say they're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be a lot better.
Do they still have a Buda Baker still there?
Seattle's got a really good roster if Geno Smith is okay, is decent again. He sucked
stinks.
last year.
Well, he just always will stink. He had one good year.
I know.
That shit, I said it
No,
for
I agree
so
with you.
long.
I agree.
I know.
Everyone's like, Geno. I'm like, bro, this is like a phenomenon.
100%.
This is a phenomenon.
What is he, like
100%.
37 now?
No, he's only in his early 30s, right? I just think there's a lot of
You guys ain't
good
locked in. I
teams.
recant that statement, but you guys have a good shot.
No,
in my
I
eyes.
really.
That's all I'm saying.
It would be tough even for me to say we're locked in
Yeah.
because I've watched this team for 40 years. Like I
This is the most talented team in the
That's the only
decade,
reason I
though.
said that. Like you don't
Yeah.
see this
No,
much talent and not do anything.
This
with it.
is a video game lineup
From
for
the
the
outside
first time
looking
in my
in.
life, other than having Walter Payton on one side of the ball or having a great
Right.
defense on the other, or having Hester. This is a video game lineup. Every position is every guy is good. Like even everyone is going to forget about Cole Kmet too. I feel like he's going to have a big year this year
When I was
because
thinking about
if Caleb can't get the ball downfield, it's not going to be the running back. It's going to
Yeah,
be
I
to
agree.
Cole Kmet.
I agree.
It's just going to be tough to line up against them because they have the personnel for every formation. They have a good 12-man personnel. They have a good 11-man personnel. If they want to go fucking 5 wide, they got
Yeah.
any kind of personnel formation that they want to go through. They have the guys to do it. So you can't force them into one-dimensional football as long as Swift is better than I think he is. I'm not a fan of Swift, but in this offense, he should play well.
That's why I'm happy, because if Swift is not Swifty, then you have Roshan, and I know
And,
Roshan
yeah.
can carry the load. I
I
really
hope
do.
so.
Is he?
I drafted
the
Roshan.
backup? And did he take Herbert's spot?
So I'm looking at
Pretty much.
I'm looking at the
Pretty
ESPN depth chart right now. They have Roshan at 2.
Two.
They have Herbert at 3. So I just
Herbert
want
kind of
to.
stinks. He's good.
I
but,
just
like,
I said he's the
not an
filler.
everyday
He's the
back,
he's the
yeah.
consistent guy that will get you.
I just knew he stunk when. Well, I don't want to say stink, but he like took over or whatever. And I just remember in like fantasy, he got like
Yeah,
a
he had
small
one
number,
huge
and
game. I
was,
think
like,
it was
so
week
sick
He's like
about
3.
it.
I think against Houston a couple
He's-
years ago.
Yeah.
He had 120 yards on like 20 carries.
He's
and
Tony
everyone's
Pollard
like, "Oh, he's
light, man.
great."
Yeah.
He's Tony Pollard light. It's like they're guys that they got the job, and you're like, oh, they're gonna be great. And it's like they're better when they have less carries. Like they do because they're more explosive. You saw it with Pollard. You saw it with Herbert. They get tired. They can't do 20 carries a game. You see them get 20 carries a game, and then they're dead, and then they are running for 3 yards a carry. But I want to bring up fantasy. Me and Harry started doing this last week. We'll go through the teams, and we'll also bring up the fantasy people on that team you might want to draft.
Okay.
And then so the Bears are like, to me, it's like it's like Houston. The offense could be amazing, but you also don't really want that many parts of it because it's going to be so spread out. It's like the first time in my fantasy career that I've looked at 2 teams where I think their offenses are going to be great, and I don't want to draft any of them. CJ Stroud's going way too high, I think, and
Where's
I
he
think
going?
CJ Stroud's going as like quarterback 4. Where it's like if he hits his peak and he hits quarterback 4, cool. But if he even takes one little step back, you wasted a draft pick on him, right?
Is this in
So-
one quarterback league or two
One,
quarterback?
this is in one quarterback
okay.
leagues.
Okay.
So Caleb Williams, I'm not exactly sure where he's going. You can get a decent value for him, but then it's like, do you want to draft DJ Moore this year when he was a top 10 wide receiver last year? Keenan Allen had one of the best per game stats the past 5 years out of any wide receiver.
I don't see.
And-
And,
and-
pass on these dudes though.
But it's like they
What's
have to
their
hurt
ADP?
each other,
Tell me
right?
the ADPs.
Yeah, I'll go.
Pull
All
it
right,
up
I'll
real
find.
quick.
Yeah,
Because I feel like Keenan Allen it has to be like a 3rd round pick.
I think people are probably going to try to let him slide because they don't
The
believe.
4th, I love that.
There's a lot of mouths to feed.
So
That's
what I
what
wanna ask-
scares
If
me.
Keenan Allen is a 4th round pick, I will have him in every single draft.
what I want to
Every
ask, if
single
you
one.
had to pick one offensive player on this team outside of Caleb, who isn't good, because so DJ Moore, it's like his over under on his yards is hardly over 1,000 yards. I say smack that all day. It's getting low because. Okay,
Keenan
all the
Allen,
mouths to feed.
Odunze,
But at the
Swift.
same time, you guys should also throw the ball 100 more times this year. Like, Caleb is going to run, but he's not going to run nearly as much as Justin Fields. He's not going to hold the ball nearly as long as Justin
No,
Fields.
he's already shown
So
that.
even though there is more mouths
Caleb's
to
nice.
feed, there should also be more targets to kind of offset that. So I look at you guys in a more positive light than I look at Houston, because I do think you're going to throw the ball more. And even if they take a small step back, I still think Keenan and DJ should have fantasy relevant, obviously relevant, but really good fantasy seasons.
Yeah.
But if you had to take one offensive player that's not going to be affected so much by all these mouths to feed, who would you pick? Like if you had to take one player off the Bears offense.
This is just like a redraft, like regular one
Redraft, yeah,
quarterback.
yeah.
Yeah, I would still take DJ Moore. Swift, I mean, running backs, they're just not what, they're not valued the way that they used to be. Like, for real, in as far as draft, I mean, look at their salaries compared to some of these other guys. But I just think DJ Moore proved, like, yeah, Justin Fields would turn and throw to him, and I think, he had 90 catches for, 1,300 yards and, like, literally just had an amazing season. But imagine what he could do with somebody that is willing to just – so if Keenan's there or somebody doubles up on DJ, they're going to throw to Keenan. Like that's what's the beauty of all of this is that you can't just single in on one guy now. But again, fantasy wise, I still got to go with DJ just because I feel like he's already in the offense. He's already been there, and I don't know. It could be wrong, but I feel like that guy did. I mean, he had good years, good seasons in Carolina with nothing.
Yeah.
You know, he got PJ Walker coming in and throwing 70-yard bombs. DJ got there, but I just DJ Moore's a great player. I'll be honest, when he first came into the league, I wasn't sure if I loved him or if I hated him because it was like if I would pick him, he wouldn't do well, and then when I didn't pick him, he would blow up.
Right.
But now that he's a Bear, and obviously I love that whole entire trade to get him.
Well, you guys crushed it.
Oh my goodness,
That
that's why I
was
say
murder.
like Poles just like literally made some.
Got Caleb Williams and DJ Moore for fucking Bryce Young plus whatever
Plus,
else. you
yeah, all
added
the other
into it.
picks. But the only, like I said, there were some bad moves too. I mean, Chase Claypool and that move.
But really, other than Claypool, I don't think you guys did a bad move. Second round pick for Claypool is almost a fireable offense.
It was with the fire.
Not a second round fire.
Oh, you guys
though.
did a second for him?
Yeah.
But
It's Mapletron, fuck it.
but everything else, I think, is like, you've worked at Master. Like not.
Yeah, I felt like they could have got more for Roquan. That was the only other move that I was.
But it's a non-premium position. He was in a contract year.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to pay him
So,
$20 million.
yeah.
I understood it. I just thought we could have got more.
They look at the Bills. We lost Tremaine for nothing.
Yeah.
So it was like you guys were like, we can't win now. The Bills would have traded Tremaine if they didn't think they could win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You guys were like, we can't win a Super Bowl.
But we
we
can start
don't want to
building.
pay this guy. Let's get a pick for him. So you didn't get enough for him, sure, but you got something for him. He was going to leave anyway.
Oh,
most likely.
I love Tremaine when with the Bills. I kept telling everybody, the guy's legit.
Yeah, Bills. That's
he
a guy
really
that
he
Bills
really
fans hated
turned
for
it
no
up
reason.
at the end of the season last year.
So many Bills fans hated Tremaine. Steve hated Tremaine. I think Steve was one of them, but so many Bills. He wasn't perfect. He over pursued sometimes. His instincts were a little off. But the guy's like 24. He's been in the league 6 years.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like sidebar, but like Kyle Pitts. It's like everyone's giving up on him. He's younger than 3 of the first round picks this year, and he's going into his 3rd season. So it's like. And they're playing positions, linebackers, tight ends. It's positions that take a while in the NFL. If you're going to run a defense and you come in the league at 19 years old, there's going to be some hiccups. But when you talk about prototype size, speed, Tremaine, he was a great coverage linebacker. The last couple of years he was there, every game he missed, you saw an obvious drop in our defensive efficiency. And people would just see him miss one tackle and be like, he sucks. It's like, he kind of over pursues a little bit because he's like the fastest guy in the field at
he
the
gets caught
linebacker
once in a
position.
while.
But
That happens. Urlacher, I watched him get beat a couple times where he thinks he's going to catch up with speed, and the guy just keeps going. It happens.
yeah, I like Tremaine a lot. But you asked ADP. DJ Moore's 31 right now, so beginning of the 3rd, middle 3rd. I'm bad at math. And then Keenan Allen's 53, I think it was.
God,
So
I'm
he's
gonna
at the
have bear
beginning.
stack everywhere.
So that's 5th round.
I'm not
Beginning
gonna
of the
stop
fifth.
having bear stacks. I'm gonna have Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen in every single fucking
Well,
league.
you go ahead and rock
I think
it.
I think stacking Caleb with these. And let me see where Caleb's at.
He's probably like
he might be
80
moving up.
something.
He might be moving up the boards, but he might be moving up the boards. But early in the season, I was trying to get into FFPC things because there was a good value. But let me make sure. So Caleb is quarterback 17.
That's
which
not terrible as a
That's
rookie.
I think that's great.
That's amazing.
I'll
ass.
draft him.
yeah.
I'm gonna
Quarterback.
have a bear stack in every league.
People going above him.
I won't be able to stop taking them.
Yeah.
How do you pass? I can't pass on them. It's impossible.
I think we should all go to the game on August 10th.
Man, fuck it.
What is the preseason game?
Yeah, Bears, Bills.
That's fire.
So yeah, I mean, I think Caleb is a good pick at 17, and then you got to shoot your shot on one of them. And I don't think you can use
One of 'em.
I don't think you can use two top 5 picks on one team, especially not knowing what's gonna. It's a risk, but yeah, I mean,
How
if
do you
if they
pass
just
on?
pass the ball every fucking down, like Keenan Allen and. I just don't see how DJ Moore, he was like wide receiver 8 or whatever last year, something like that, in that ballpark. I just don't see how he's going in the
Because
early.
Keenan Allen went there, people are a little afraid. That's all it is. But I will
But
take
we've
them both.
we've seen this happen so many times where
I don't
two
see why
wide
Caleb don't
receivers are
throw the ball
fantasy
40,
relevant.
50 times every game.
Well, that's what I was
Every
talking
game.
when I was talking to my
Yeah.
cousin.
So
He
DJ
goes,
Moore's going behind Jalen Waddle, who was ass last year and who was this number 2 receiver in a similar, I won't say similar offense. Miami has the best offense in the league before the weather gets cold. But Still, like
Why?
Jalen. What do you mean? Why they scored 70 fucking
They're
points?
unbelievable.
The Dolphins have the best offense in the league until it's cold.
They got track stars at every position.
That's fair.
Literally,
I
like
think the Niners have a better one,
three
though.
running backs and like 4
I think the
receivers
Niners have a
that are
better
just-
offense than the Dolphins.
Okay,
I like
I
the-
mean, that's those two. It's
yeah,
those two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I just wanted to say that.
But yeah, so I mean, I don't know. Like, I just don't see how DJ Moore falls from wide receiver 8 to 19 just because Keenan Allen got there. But when they upgraded at quarterback, for fantasy purposes, Justin Fields was a great quarterback, but he was not great for his targets.
Right.
I don't know if I'll have both of them, but I will have a bear
Did
on every one of my
did
leagues.
DeAndre Swift ADP go ahead of DJ Moore?
I don't think so, but let me just double check.
I mean, I wouldn't expect it to, but I'm just wondering. Like when you ask me, like I would.
No,
have to,
I
I
know
would have to pick
Swift
DJ Moore.
was pretty far back. He's not above.
Where's
DJ Moore is
Swift at? Hold on,
the
where's
number
Swift
one.
at?
Swift sucks. I'm telling you guys.
Where
he's
is
got
he
he's
at?
got to be in like round 9.
I'm not gonna look through the
Round
whole
9? He's got
overall.
somewhere
Yeah.
in there. It's got to be. He's not. No one. See, before when the Bears were
God.
just a
I'm gonna
run
have the
team.
Bears.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
No,
have
the
the
Bears
fucking
were just
Bears.
run.
So
run, run,
DeAndre
run,
Swift is 69th overall, nice, and 21st running back. So you're gonna take Swift over Aaron Jones. You're gonna take Swift over Ramondre, Alvin Kamara,
Yes.
Joe Mixon.
Yes.
You're taking him over Joe Mixon, and
would.
you're
I don't-
taking him over Aaron Jones.
I don't know if I would take him over Ramondre.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's
That's all they've.
wild.
Aaron
That's
Jones
all
at
they've
all.
got over there.
Aaron Jones.
No, Ramondre. I don't know. I would take him.
Najee's the running back
I don't
right
really
before
like
him.
Ramondre. I'm not like I don't know.
So
That's
DeAndre
what-
Swift or Najee?
Probably Swift.
But see,
DeAndre Swift or David Montgomery?
Swift.
James
Wait,
Conner.
Montgomery. He's in Detroit.
he's in Detroit.
Yeah,
You
Gibbs
gotta
about to take that
Monty,
shit,
you
though.
gotta take Monty.
I don't think so, man.
James Conner.
Over those guys, I would. Even
Oh.
with Gibbs there, you saw he would have 2-3
give me Swift.
touchdowns.
Swift over Connor?
Yeah.
You'll learn.
This is it. No, I
You'll
was, I
learn.
was on your side last year.
Were you?
The
Yes.
Terminator might have a
I was
huge
on
year
your
this
side.
year.
We had me and you versus Harry.
And versus everyone.
Yeah.
We showed up to Buffalo Wild Wings for week 1. James Conner fucking sucks. I was like, you'll learn.
But I think
Yeah,
this is
Terminator
this is
might have
year.
a big year this year.
He's
As
gonna
long
be
This
as
is Connor's
I
last
love
year,
James
man.
Conner, man.
yeah.
They drafted Trey Benson.
Yeah, and, I got him as the backup in the dynasty.
That's okay, but I'm saying I think Benson's gonna take over.
All right, so
I just think it's like all those names you mentioned. That just goes to show you that was all like a class of running backs. That's kind of been the first handful
Yeah,
of picks
not no
for
more, though.
that. Now they're drifting back.
But listen, Swift over. I just don't see how you can take them dudes over Swift right now.
I'm just
I
not a
don't-
Swift.
Rookie
I don't know,
quarterback.
man.
I'm not a Swift fan.
He runs, rookie quarterback. The checkdowns is crazy.
Yeah.
He can make big plays. Give me Swift.
All right, man.
I'll have Swift
Hey,
everywhere.
you know what? Do you want to wear this?
I think I do. Holy shit!
So fantasy wise, Joe is the highest on the Bears.
That's
I'm still
insane.
very
Only because
high.
of ADP though. Where they're going,
Yeah,
it's like a
I agree.
steal.
Yeah.
I'm still very high on. I think people are fading them way too much. I mean, you're getting a DJ Moore, top 10 wide receiver at wide receiver 19. You're getting Keenan Allen, top.
Who he could
if
be
you-
number one. I'm not saying he
what
will
did Keenan
be.
Allen have like
I'm not saying
1,300?
he will be.
Yeah.
But he could be the number one receiver. You're getting him in the 4th or 5th
Keenan
round.
Allen had what, like 1,300 yards in like 10 games or something
The
crazy
dude is the
last
best.
year. I just don't see why they
He
see these
might
guys
be the
falling
best
off.
receiver. He just doesn't play the whole seasons.
I,
That's all.
I've been listening to like fantasy podcasts and I just disagree with all of them. It's like, okay, Keenan Allen now has to share with DJ Moore. He was sharing with fucking Austin Eckler in one of the most ridiculous
And Mike
offenses
Williams,
ever.
though.
Well, Mike Williams was hurt most of the year.
Okay.
But
That's fair.
well, the whole year. But it's like
before that,
he was
though?
in an offense that was just feeding the wider. It's like he was competing with Eckler last year. I just don't see how any of these people's situations fall off.
Well-
if anything, you can't double DJ Moore now when he was the only
That's what I
target in
was-
that
I
offense
think-
last
I
year.
think the biggest
and then you have
deal-
a quarterback who's going. Let me see how many times
I'll
Justin
tell you what. I
Fields
think the
threw
biggest
ball last
deal.
year.
That's why, like I was saying, I like the idea that you can't double these guys now, and if you do, there's underneath.
Hear me
help.
out. I think the biggest steal, like, in all honesty, I probably won't have every bear. I'm just kidding.
No, I
around.
know that.
But the guy that
Reality
I'll
will sit in.
Yeah, but the guy that I'll have the most of is Keenan Allen, because I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. One, he can just have 1,300 yards in 10 games or whatever it is, but now a little load is taken off of him. He might not get hurt.
Right.
You know what I'm
he's-
saying?
He doesn't have to be the guy.
Yeah, but his separation, his route running is phenomenal. So if he plays, maybe they'll have him play 50 or 60% of snaps, like a little,
Yeah.
DJ Moore's going to be out there on the, one receiver sets and stuff like that. I just think that I think limiting his workload, he'll be able to play the whole season and produce more because he'll play more games. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me. But the one thing that I as looking at my team, so to speak, I feel like in a one receiver set where like maybe they're like in the goal, they're gonna have Keenan in there to throw the jump ball to him.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what
well,
I think.
I didn't mean it like they won't have him in. The only reason I said DJ Moore, I think just to like, I think Keenan Allen will be in sometimes, but I think to like limit his routes ran.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just 'cause
Both guys are amazing. I mean,
Yeah, I
I
agree.
seen DJ make a couple catches at the back corner of the end. It's like, whoa,
Yeah, wow.
like where'd
Yeah.
that come from? But Keenan's a big dude.
he's
So,
really good.
oh.
I will have Keenan
Like
Allen.
I said, I'm happy. I'm not gonna.
I'm about to
I'm
go
not
trade
gonna
for
be.
Keenan Allen.
I'm not gonna be like some of your, your friends that are Bills fans that are. We're going to the Super Bowl this year. No, man. Like I'd be realistic. Like there is a progression. If we make we made the playoffs on a horrible season. Like with Mitch Trubisky, but then of course guys can't catch the ball in the end zone against the Saints. That team had no business being in the playoffs, but with the new format, they made it great. This team is better than that team already, and I feel like that's one thing I can say. Looking at
I can't
the
wait to draft
moves
Keenan
that they've made, the defensive guys that they got, like everything is good. Like let's, make it happen on the field.
Okay, so we're gonna move on
I
just
think
right
Keenan Allen
before
could
we
be a
move
league
on.
winner.
I
I do.
So this dude, Justin Fields,
I can't
had
get over it.
it doesn't have yards per game, but he only had 2,500 passing yards in 13 games. So that's that's awful.
That's gonna be in the first.
That's
games.
going to increase so much.
by two. It's gonna double.
I don't know about that.
I forget
but
what the number
It's
was.
going to increase a lot, and I just think people are fading the Bears way too much just because of the how crowded the room is.
I forget what I don't remember the exact breakdown or whatever, but I'm pretty sure that it was in the last 3 seasons. Like they showed all the teams, like how many teams and how many times a team threw under 200 yards, and the Bears were 28 times under 200 yards in the last 3 years. That is gross.
That's real bad.
That's gross.
All
That's
right.
disgusting.
But the problem is, one of the biggest problems is Justin Fields was run first, throw later.
Hey Joe,
What?
we got to talk about a team that's been great at passing the ball now for 30 years, and that is the Green Bay Packers.
All right.
Sorry, we got to get this moving, man. We've been here for
Keenan
a while.
Allen.
I let this man. I had to let this man get all the Bear stuff out.
Yeah, I was just going along.
So Packers, another team I think that had a really good offseason. They get running back Josh Jacobs after
To me,
releasing Aaron
that's an
Jones.
upgrade.
They keep AJ Dillon. He sucks.
He won't see
They
the field.
re-sign Xavier, or not re-sign, but they signed Xavier McKinney, Greg Joseph the kicker, Corey Ballentine
Wasn't he on
cornerback,
Minnesota? Wasn't that Minnesota's kicker?
and then a couple other
And he just switched sides.
smaller names. And then in the draft, they get a tackle from Arizona, so he's going to be a bust. Jordan Morgan, Adrian Cooper, though their second round picks I loved. Adrian Cooper and Javon Bullard. Javon Bullard's one of those guys who could play single high and being next to McKinney when they have two safeties. That's going to be tough to deal with, especially with Jair Alexander. Marshawn Lloyd, which a lot of people are having as running back 1. He was, I think, my running back 3. And then just a bunch of guys that I don't even know who they are, except for Kalen King, who fell out of the 7th round. And like a couple of years ago, people were talking about him being a top 2nd round, like top 2 round picks.
That's worth a flyer.
I mean, yeah, fucking 7th round pick. Yeah. I forgot what NFL player who played with him said that he's going to be way better than that. But so yeah, they also had a really good offseason, I think. And they had an amazing offense last year. All those wide receivers should theoretically get better. For some reason, the Jaden Reed hype train is fucking flying. He's getting drafted. I know, but he's getting drafted so far ahead of some of the
places I have him.
I know, but
He's my guy.
I know, but I guess we could talk about fantasy to begin with. I think
He's like Tank Dell almost.
yeah, but when they ran 2 receiver sets last year, he wasn't on the field. They picked Watson and Dobbs over him.
Who are already in there.
It doesn't matter, man. I just like you're projecting, not you specifically. I think the world is projecting way too hard with Reed. They're projecting him to. When you draft a guy like that, you're expecting to get him a little bit later, and then when he hits your projection, it's above his ADP.
In many redrafts because I know his ADP went up.
Yeah, they're blowing his
in
ADP
Dynasty?
up.
Yeah. Oh, Dynasty for sure.
Yeah, that was my guy.
I think the worst part about like fantasy podcasts and all that stuff is like people who took it seriously used to be able to get guys like that. You used to be able to get Jaden Reed in the 10th round because you paid attention. Yeah. And now all these podcasts and stuff are making it so casuals know it, and you don't get value hardly anywhere. You have to like reach for it in loaded rooms because you don't get value. I remember I would always do the strategy, second-year quarterbacks. I drafted Mahomes his second year, won a championship. Same league next year, I got Lamar, won the championship. Now, second-year quarterbacks are such a fucking valuable asset because people caught on to that you're getting dudes. You're drafting Stroud. He needs to be 10 times better than last year when he was on an MVP pace. It's like you ruined the edge for the really good players who pay a lot of attention and who want to get those guys who they know are going to have the breakouts. Now everyone thinks they're going to have the breakouts.
I'm going to use that strategy in Trap Nerd drafting.
There's no strategy anymore. It's just like now the strategy is like you got to reach on guys and hope that you're right about them because everyone knows about them. Yeah. But yeah, so that was just a little sidebar. So, I think
did Christian Watson's ADP go down?
Yeah, his ADP is really far down.
Yeah. Keenan Allen, Christian Watson.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, I know you guys love, you love Jaden, but I think a lot of that.
I'm on him.
But that production last year had to do with Watson being out, in my opinion.
Well, no, he was doing it with Watson on the field, though.
It makes sense he would have better games with Watson on the field, but I think he was getting more targets.
Oh, probably.
I mean, it's just
Christian Watson's wide receiver 41.
41.
Wow.
Yep. Listen, I'll tell you guys right now, I will have Keenan Allen and Christian Watson.
I love Christian Watson
on every fucking team.
To be fair,
hate that he's a
Jaden
Packer.
Reed is 35 in this, so
I'll pass on him. Right to Christian Watson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a dumbass.
I don't care. I'll have them dudes.
I'm sorry, guys.
Dude, 41. That dude can be top 10.
Oh, for sure. Especially with Love throwing in the ball.
Oh, he's a touchdown fucking
yeah, but
okay.
When he's on the field, he likes throwing to him.
It's 34 or 39 in PPR. I forgot.
Who's on 39?
Christian Watson. Dobbs I'm Dobbs
sick. I already know my fantasy teams. I haven't even drafted yet.
I know, man.
Putting it out in the universe. Do it.
That's crazy.
So, I'm gonna make you say a good thing about the Green Bay Packers. What is the strength of the Green Bay Packers? What worries you the most when you play them?
Well, I think along with what the obvious of them just dominating for the last 30 years, they just they don't rebuild, they just reload, and that's the thing that sucks for me because it's like I watched Favre and Rodgers, and now Love looks like he's the real deal. So it's tough to geez, what do we have to do to climb that mountain? But I think the underdog version of the Packers that their defense is really good.
Yeah.
Their defense is, I mean, if they actually, you look at, we were just talking a little while ago about some of the top corners in the league prior to coming on today, and Jair was nowhere to be found, and I thought, man, that's blasphemy. Like, that dude's like top 3, top 5 at the least.
He's top 5.
He might be top 2. I mean, Sauce is there. Jair is there. Surtain. Bias to my guy Jalen. I think how they do total QBR for quarterbacks. They did the same thing.
Jalen Johnson's really good.
Jalen is up there as far as corners. So, but Quay Walker, Preston, they have great players at every level. So. I think that's
Devontae Wyatt might be able to take a step. We just talked about how defensive linemen take a while to get good.
I think the Packers' defense is underappreciated for what they actually do for that team because they've put Jordan Love in a lot of great positions where they force turnovers or make that big impact play and short field.
Right.
And then, they didn't have much of a running game. Aaron Jones, had a few games here and there last year, but it wasn't. There was I think maybe a 4-week window where it was Jones is back, but then Jones disappeared.
A.J. Dillon just was awful. He finished the season before that so good, and he was just terrible all year.
It couldn't even have been that much better.
No, December 2 years ago.
Oh, December, yeah.
Yeah,
he was a bulldozer a couple years ago for sure.
But I don't think he did good in fantasy.
He did in December. Okay. I remember I had him in the Family Dynasty and almost dragged me to the playoffs.
The one guy I also think that kind of took me by surprise last year was Musgrave, a tight end.
Yeah.
I was just I thought about drafting him a couple times and like different dynasties and whatnot, and I was just like, whatever. He's a Packer. I don't need that guy. But now I'm watching. I'm like, man, this guy keeps getting open, and Love keeps finding him. So the Packers are good. Are they Super Bowl contenders? Could be. Josh Jacobs is an upgrade. Obviously, he's just got to do his thing. But I also feel like, again, where we've talked about running backs start losing their value and underappreciated and underpaid.
Really 22, 12, 10, and 3. That was his fantasy points.
And 3. But you talking about last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Maybe I'm thinking 3 years ago then.
I mean, look.
Remember we'd always talk about December Dylan.
Yeah, you're right here.
Okay, it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, 7, 10, 8, 22,
What?
7. What?
Really?
Yeah, dude. I knew it. He had a couple good games.
I swear, I remember talking with Harry, December Dylan's here.
But he's a Packers fan, so this dude was
No, but
good
the dude
football
was-
in December. It was good football in December. It wasn't good fantasy football in December.
Okay, maybe I was okay. I don't know if it was fantasy wise.
Yeah, maybe it was just because they were making moves towards the playoffs.
I just remember him being
Go
good.
look at it.
I just remember him being a bulldozer.
To be fair, I didn't say
I don't know if it
fantasy.
was a couple years ago though.
He finding a way around it.
No, he went from 4.34, not good, but 3.4 yards a carry last year. He had the least amount of yards of his career last year.
I'm just saying
5 less touchdowns than he did the year before.
I'm just saying he wasn't the guy, but
he was never the guy, but he was a good change of pace.
But this is why
last year he legit sucked.
But them adding Josh Jacobs is AJ
Both.
Dillon, and Aaron Jones.
Yeah,
but they're just better. I don't know.
and Marshawn
I'm not
Lloyd
saying
should
he's
be
better
the
than
same
Aaron
thing,
Jones
too.
in his prime, but
He might be.
it's possible.
Yeah,
it's possible.
I don't know if he'll ever be as good of a pass catcher as Aaron Jones.
Probably not, but as a true runner, he's gone.
He's probably better than
Do
as
either
a
of you
true-
think Marshawn really takes away from Jacobs' carries?
Lloyd?
Yeah.
I don't think he
I
really
don't
takes
think
away from Jacobs' carries, but I think he
Not
takes
this year,
Dillon's.
unless he gets hurt. Oh, I definitely think he takes Dillon's.
I don't know if Dylan sees the field.
Yeah.
He will, but I don't.
December.
He's not December Dylan. He wasn't even December Dylan last year, man. He sucked.
Or the year before.
Santa Claus coming in.
He was just
What was his stats? I didn't say anything about fantasy. I said he was being good.
What year?
2 years ago. What was his yards per carry?
2.9.
There's no way.
I don't know. See it. Yards per carry.
Yeah.
All right. So if you want to start from week 13 against the
Is
Bears,
that's December? That's
I
the
don't think
beginning.
so. Week 12.
I don't know when it starts.
When does
whatever.
December start?
It's the last 4 weeks
September,
of the season. It should be.
October,
Well, you
November.
got
So 13, 14,
yeah,
15.
14, 15, 16, 17
Okay, well,
would be
14's a
the.
bye.
So
We'll
then
just give him. We'll give you week 13.
So
All
then
right,
do
all right,
13
all right.
against the Bears.
Okay.
All right.
the Bears.
He had 5.17 yards per carry. He
Okay.
had 20.9. The week after, he 3.27 yards per carry, but he had 22, so he had a couple touchdowns or something.
All right.
Then after that, 3.27
God
again,
damn.
12 points.
My memory is awful. Why?
The week
why are
after
we-
that, he stepped it up, 3.42.
Why am I thinking?
What the year before that?
It's okay to not know. like,
I just
Oh, no, this is
remembered December Dylan being a thing.
His second year, which his fantasy
Was that
points
3
were
years
at,
ago?
3 years ago, he had 4.73, 3.14, 4.5, 4.5, 4.5.
That's not even that good though.
That's-
Yeah,
I
I
was
know.
gonna say, that's
I'm
Why
just saying,
was-
like, if that's what you're thinking of, that,
Why was it?
It's because he's just a bruiser
Harry
in
was
the
probably
winter.
just messing with
That's
you.
all it was.
No,
man.
no.
He had you hyped. You're like, December Dylan. He's
Good
gonna
job,
get
dude,
25
man.
a game.
Good job, dude, man. Brainwashing these Packers people.
I feel like the Mandela effect just happened to me, dude. Like,
It's called the dude man effect.
what the
You said
fuck?
December Dylan. I knew for sure. I mean, he had good games,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like he was just like Najee last December.
Yeah, those
was,
games
he had
against the
20 every
Bears,
game.
Yeah,
that doesn't
yeah.
even count for being good. They were playing the Bears.
I mean, 2 years ago,
Especially when they were gutting the team, too. They were horrible.
yeah.
There was zero defense.
he averaged 5 though.
All right. Anyway, I can't. I just.
Go trade him, man.
I don't. I think I dropped him.
You should have.
I think I did.
I took him as collateral in a dynasty trade with Damon a couple weeks ago.
I think Lloyd will see the field though, but I think Josh Jacobs is going to be like a 90% runner.
No, I don't. No, I don't think so. What's his name? Never does that. Like even with how bad Dylan was last year, he
Yeah,
got
he
a
does-
decent
he
amount of
definitely-
carries.
Yeah, but they were trying to conserve
Jones for
Aaron-
what? They were getting rid of him.
Well, now he got hurt. That's
Yeah.
what it was. Because Aaron Jones was on the field most of the time. Actually,
But you'll notice though that
look
the
up his
the
stat
NFL
chart.
has really gone to running back by committee just about on every single team.
I think Josh Jacobs will be the workhorse, but I think it'll be closer to like 70%.
Yeah.
I think Lloyd will get a decent amount of touches. They really like him. I
They
think
do.
I don't think
That's
they
why I was
expected to
asking.
get him where they
it's
got him.
tough.
What were Aaron Jones's like snap share count?
Last year,
Yeah, I should say all the way
it
left.
was 47, hurt, 35, hurt.
Well, he got hurt in that game, I think.
It's hard to go because he was always off an injury.
Yeah.
Let's go the year before that.
I just don't think. I don't think they're gonna.
Yeah,
I think
you're
they.
right.
I don't think they want to
50,
burn out.
60%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a lot, though. 60,
Yeah.
73, 74, 67.
But I don't think they want to burn Jacobs out before the playoffs. I think it's going to be very committee based.
But Jacobs can withstand that shit.
The thing about the Packers, I think that is the scariest, is that they were already good last year. They 10 games, smacked the hell out of the Cowboys, which is half amazing, half it's the Cowboys.
And played a great game against the Niners. That
Yeah,
that
and they lost by 3.
They
and
could have
it
won
was
that game.
The only reason they lost, well, I won't say the only reason they lost, but a big reason they lost. Jordan Love made a very uncharacteristic throw.
2 years ago, Josh Jacobs told everyone.
Yeah,
You remember that?
yeah, that was the most that was the most credit I'll ever give Joe.
Told everyone. Everyone's
Yeah.
like, nah, he sucks. Got him in like the
Led the
6th
league
round
in,
everywhere.
in rushing,
Fucking
yeah.
just blew the shit out the water. That shit was
that
fire.
is that the like the season that he had like
Oh man,
Yeah, it was-
300
remember?
yards rushing
Yeah.
game or whatever
Yeah.
it was. Damon was so mad at me because he would have been undefeated that season, and that's I had Josh
48.
Jacobs.
Yeah, he put me into a playoffs.
He had what was it, an 85 or 90-yard touchdown run, or 86
yeah,
yard
at the end of the
touchdown or
game, it was like
something.
82. It was
yeah.
like 82 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
So-
thing about the Packers
That
that
was Harry. My bad. Not
No,
to,
it's all
but
good.
it was just mad funny because I was telling we were just laughing about it because I needed him to have like a 50-point game in order to make the playoffs, and dude just got a 50-point game.
so shut the fuck up. I'd like to eat at some point today.
Do you
Just
realize?
ate chicken.
Hey,
That's not enough.
Here's a sidebar. Do you realize the three of us right here have the top 3 picks in Steve's dynasty?
That's a fact.
Oh, man.
Let's trade right now.
I'll pay Steve $100 to put it on sleeper right now. So yes, get the Packers. I think the most dangerous thing with them is that they have so many guys who can have the year 3 breakout, year 2 breakout. They were already good. If one of these guys takes a major step, I mean, look at Nico Collins. Was nothing.
Love him.
3rd or 4th year was last year's 3rd year. Or 4th year? 3rd year.
3rd year, I think.
Amazing. Goes crazy. If Christian Watson say because he fixed his fucking hamstring, if someone takes that step and now they have a huge improvement somewhere, and there's so many guys capable of taking that step. You talk about on the Bills, like Dalton Kincaid next year could be one of the best tight ends. Like they have Musgrave, Reed, Watson, Wicks, Dobbs. I think Dobbs is a little. I think he's just like a really good player, but I think Watson, Reed, Wicks,
They can
and
be
Musgrave can literally.
You think Wicks is gonna be better than Dubs?
I think he has the
That's a hot
potential. I think
take.
he has the potential. I'm not gonna say. I think he has more potential than Dobbs, however the fuck you say it. But I think Dobbs will be what he is for a very long time, if that makes
Touchdown.
sense. Yeah, just
Just
touchdowns,
consistent.
60,
consistently
70
open.
yards.
Yeah. But
It's
they
fair.
have so many guys who are candidates for taking that step. And on the defensive side, Wyatt, Gary. I think we know what he is, but he's been one of the most underrated pass rushers in the league. They just have guys who can take that extra step to push them over the hump and really make them compete with the Lions.
Yeah, I really do.
There's
think
no
they're
one that really
underappreciated.
jumps
That
out off
defense
the
is
table
nasty.
or off the paper at you,
For what?
like in names. Like Jacobs had his best year 2 years ago though, was struggled last
Yeah,
year.
but on the Raiders.
Still though, you're not looking at Josh Jacobs like you would look at a Saquon Barkley or
I
CMC
don't see
or
why not.
it's possible. I'm just
I just
saying.
don't see why.
I'm saying the pop
What's his
factor.
ADP?
I think he's a early
Oh,
second.
man. Yep.
He's pretty high. And
I'll have him too.
and then Javon Bullard, Xavier McKinney, like the athleticism they have in the back end now is. I think they're gonna be dangerous, man.
I
mean,
agree because their
we'll
defense
get
is nasty.
into-
They don't get credit for it.
And Jordan Love, who I hated that pick. I mean, I didn't see
It's
what they
proven to be
saw in
good,
him,
though.
and he's been their development is just insane. Like, even when they picked him, they were like, even if you didn't have Aaron Rodgers, a lot of people were like, this isn't a first round talent, and he just no matter who goes there. I made the joke when they drafted.
Well, they
when
pretty
Love,
much have like, hey, if you want to play quarterback, here's the Green Bay quarterback.
Yeah, I made the joke. I was like, there's somewhere in the middle of the country, there's a 15 or a 5-year-old kid who's going to play quarterback for the Packers 15 years from now, and he's going to go to the Hall of Fame.
It's unbelievable.
His story's already written. He's going to get drafted 27th to the Packers, and he's going to go to the Hall of Fame in 2052 or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, right.
It's unbelievable.
And think about that too. I mean, obviously Favre went to Green Bay, but he got drafted by Atlanta. Who? Brett Favre. So, but the thing is, like, they literally have the blueprint. Like, I mean,
that's what I'm thinking happened. So
that's
from the
like
beginning of
40
time,
years worth of quarterback.
whoever started, or whoever was the quarterback's coach at the beginning, drew the blueprint,
It's like
and
the
they
book
just pass it down.
The book
They
in
have it,
Waterboy.
The
playbook.
Yeah. And they just that's
All
it.
right.
They just keep passing down every generation.
So we'll go through. We're gonna go on to the Lions now. We usually start with the division winners, but because of you and Harry, we start.
We
with them.
appreciate that.
So signed in free agency: Matthew Betts, Marcus Davenport,
I like
Amik
that,
Robertson, DJ Reader is an underrated signing, Kyle Pico, Kevin Zeitler, C.J. Moore, Jake Bates. No huge names there.
I
They
like the
acquired
Davenport
Carlton
signing.
Davis in a trade. They lost Tracy Walker and Cam Sutton. And then they had obviously those huge extensions to their core 3 guys on offense: Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Penei Sewell. And then in the draft, Terry and Arnold at 24. Why did we let this happen? How did Terry and Arnold and what's his name fall? Another conversation for another day. Dude on the Eagles. Both of the guys on the Eagles.
Yeah.
He's my favorite cornerback all year. The guy from Toledo. What the fuck's his name? It's gonna bother me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm drawing a blank.
He was supposed to be whatever. We'll talk about it when we talk about the NFC East. 2 cornerbacks back to back: Terry and Arnold, Ennis Rockstraw, however the fuck you pronounce that name, to go along with Carlton Davis. Giovanni Manu, Sion Vaki, Metke Wingo, and Christian Mahogany in the 6th round.
That sounds like a box of crayons over there.
Yeah, that were the names there that I all just butchered. So did the Lions repeat?
No.
No, it's all around.
No, there will be a new sheriff in town. It'll be the Packers or the
I
Bears.
think
The
so.
Lions,
Really?
I think it's time for them to step back.
they're the Lions.
I think
they did.
This is too much.
Yeah.
I think you
It's
guys
too
are a
much.
year early. I think you guys are a year early on their downfall. I think Jared, like they didn't lose anyone to these They were able to hand out all that money without losing anyone. But next year, once other contracts start coming up and they don't have the money because of what they paid those guys, I think that's where the downfall comes. But I don't know. This year, I mean, they just retained everyone. They still have one of the best offensive lines. They still have some. The only guy they lost is Josh Reynolds, who I think is an underrated player. But is he going to be moved?
Yeah,
the
he's
needle
not
back?
going to move the needle back. But the thing for me is now they're going to be playing a first place schedule, and
That's
where,
true.
That's where I think that the Packers will have the advantage. That's just I really.
But man, there's just not a weakness on this roster, dude.
No, but you know what it is. It's hard to do that. It's hard to repeat that same success. Now, don't get me wrong. Love Campbell, great coach. Same thing with the Packers. They got two great coaches on those teams. But I feel like the Lions playing that first place schedule is going to make a huge difference, and I think the Packers will take advantage
Can I push
of
back
that.
at that though?
Sure, of course.
He also has more dome games this year than he typically does, and that's when Jared Goff looks like an MVP candidate. Jared Goff has the biggest swing either way.
This is true.
In the dome, he's fucking the best quarterback in the league. Patrick Mahomes, who? It's the moment a drop of rain falls or he's on the road in a playoff game, that's when you see him, why he got traded before for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is a little bit more
What did they do
favorable
the year
schedule.
before last year?
9-8.
Do we think
They did the progression. I just think
Yeah.
they're
what was
they're
their
just
record last
they're the
year?
Lions.
Did they win 13 or 12? 12 or 13
13 and
games?
4?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we know if Dan Campbell can do that again?
That's where that's my question.
I kinda low-key
not the
think
first place
he's-
schedule. I think it's Dan Campbell.
They
because
have
did
the
get
talent.
They're so aggressive, and more
Way
times
too
than not,
aggressive,
it
yeah.
worked out. And then in the playoffs,
But they got so stubborn on that one going for the 2-point conversion.
twice they did it twice in that game. Oh,
But-
not the 2-point conversion. They're going for it on 4th in the playoff.
Maybe
game.
that's what it was. No. Do you know what I'm talking about? They went for it. I think it was a 2-point conversion. Yeah, it was a
they
2-point
did that
conversion.
too. Yeah.
It got like a penalty. They had to redo it from like 5 yards back, and he still
15
went
yards back.
15 yards back and still went for it. To me, I think that's bad coaching. I understand.
I think that was just the mathematics at that point.
Being stuck in your ways is my reason. Like, so I got into it with a guy, a sports writer on Twitter about that's who he was all season. You got to stick to your guns. And I'm like, no, I think the best coaches are very good at
make adjustments.
Adjustments.
Yeah.
Like we talk about.
We even talk about halftime adjustments.
Yeah.
You're talking about a season adjustment. You have to,
what-
especially in the playoffs.
and it's situational as well.
What was the Chargers coach name? I forgot
Last
already.
year's?
Yeah.
We
Staley?
should just forget about it and never.
Is it-
act
was it Staley?
It is
Brandon
Staley. Yeah,
Brandon
just
Staley.
like it's
I-
just,
that's what
just go for it on fourth down every time.
Yeah, that's what made him.
Remember,
a bad
that's what I
coach.
said. Remember,
Yeah.
that's so the guy tweets. He's like basically something along the lines of, I love that decision, even though it didn't work out. Like you have to stick to your guns. And he in the tweet he was like, if you don't, that's how you become Brandon Staley. So I quote tweeted it, and I was like, ironically, Brandon Staley made similar decisions in a playoff
He
game
just
where
kept
he blew a
doing it.
27-point lead. But it was just weird to me that he used Brandon Staley as a comparison to put Dan
Well, I think
Campbell in a better
because-
light. When Dan Campbell did the exact same thing. You were too aggressive. You blew a lead, and you lost a playoff game. They both did the same thing. Why is Brandon Staley getting shit for it? And
Well,
then
I think it's because how bad.
Well,
Dan
he
Campbell
did
seems
it.
like a
Brandon Staley-
good coach.
yes.
No, but
Yeah,
but
I
Dan
get it.
Campbell seems like a good coach. Staley never seemed like a
I
good
get it,
coach.
but it was just a weird comparison to
No, I
make
get
in
it,
that
'cause
moment.
it's- I agree.
Yeah.
But I think that's why he did it. But I want to it's the same thing. I forgot who I just said it about, but I want to see him do it again.
I think
Dan
it was.
Campbell.
I think it was the
No,
tale
I said,
of like
no, I
2
said about
seasons.
another team though. Your guy for the Knicks. I can't think of his.
Thibodeau?
No, dude, the player.
Brunson.
Yeah, Brunson. I
Oh,
want to see him
he'll
do it again.
Don't worry about it.
So I think
I couldn't think of
I
it
think
at
for
all.
me with that, when was your argument with the guy about Brandon Staley?
It was right after the game
Oh.
because so I immediately was like, that's the wrong call. You have to be situational. You put
Just
your
when it
you
gets
put your
pushed back so
yeah.
far, there's no reason
Not,
to
Right.
risk
not-
it.
I was talking about the fourth quarter one where they go for it when they had the chance to tie the game, or I forget the exact scenario, but you're leaving points off the board, which then puts your defense in a terrible situation against a really good. It's easier to do that against a team that doesn't have an offense that's better than you.
Yeah.
But when you do moves like that, and now you're putting your defense on the field at the 40-yard line. Or worse against a team like the you can do that against other teams. You can't do that against the Niners. The Niners, it's tough enough to stop from scoring. You give them the ball on the
Yep.
40-yard line, just give them 7 points. So football's situational, and Dan Campbell hasn't seemed to learn that yet. It seems like he's got too much pride in his system, which
Too much
works
what?
too much pride.
I was
And
yawning, I didn't hear
it's
what you
like that works sometimes and it doesn't work sometimes. But the reason Andy Reid is a Hall of Famer, the reason Bill Belichick's a Hall of Famer is
They'll kick the extra
Bill
point.
Belichick has
They'll-
a
they'll
different
kick
game
the
plan
field
for
goal.
every single team in the NFL. Andy Reid, the same, more on the offensive side, but the same thing. You find what works against the team and you do that. You don't stick. You don't stick to what you do. That's not the right way to say it because you should stick to your identity, but you also need to have wiggle room within
You have
that.
to be able to make adjustments, and you have to be able to make them on the fly. My question, asking you that, is because I feel like that's a tale of 2 seasons. So look at Brandon, like he kept going for it, kept going for it. They made the playoffs, they did their thing, and then they got, then they choked. But he continued it into the next season and literally
And
complete flop, and it cost him his job.
And this is why I said I want to see Dan Campbell do it again.
I want to
Yeah, I
see
agree
Dan
with
Campbell
that,
do
yeah.
it. You can't get stuck in your ways, especially when the
Yeah.
NFL is constantly, adapting, adjusting. The speed of the game, it's a passing game now. Like running game is like, that's why when Marino threw for 5,000 yards, it was so amazing and 48 touchdowns because all everybody did was run the ball.
Right.
Now you got guys like Jameis Winston throwing for 5,000 yards. It's a different thing. But for me, it was all about just you can stick to your identity, but be open-minded to like, hey, this isn't working right now. We got to try something else. That's why I think for me, I don't think the Lions win the division this year. I think the Packers do, and I think it's going to be
fight it out?
I think it's going to be a Bears and Lions with a 10-7, 9-8 behind them. I think the Packers win 12 games.
I really think the Lions are going to regress.
So I do agree with the point of like maybe Dan Campbell isn't as good of a coach as everyone thinks he is, and he has to prove it. I do agree with that. It's just hard with the talent on this roster. If you're an above average coach, when like honestly, Jared Goff is the worst player on the offense, and it's like
That is
like when you have the 1-2 punch of Gibbs and Montgomery, and they have mastered that power running back. I mean, Jamal Williams looked like garbage last year. 2 years ago, led the league in touchdowns. Montgomery comes in and does the same. He didn't lead the league, but had like whatever 15, 16, whatever.
he would have had more. He
and
just
he
got hurt.
Yeah, and then you have Gibbs, who's
Electric. He's just electric.
He's DeAndre Swift times 2. Like he's exactly what you wanted from Swift, but a way better player. You lose Reynolds, but it's like maybe Jamison Williams finally takes a step. Khalif Raymond, I think, is under. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones is underrated. And you got Amon-Ra. And you got Sam Laporta. It's just I have a tough time believing. And I think the Packers built to beat the Lions. That's why I think they spent so much money on the safeties. They obviously always had Jair.
I'm pretty sure they beat him 2 years in a row, right?
Yeah.
In big games? Or am I tripping?
I think they split.
They split.
I'm not positive.
Yeah, I don't remember
But
exactly.
They kicked them out the playoffs. Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah, the last game of the season. Yeah.
But the thing for me with Campbell is you can have all these names and they can be great. You know, they showed your players are only going to cover up your mistakes so many times, and that's why I think like when Staley went down, it was like he just stuck to his guns no matter what. It's like, dude, if Herbert's not in there, or if Keenan Allen's not in there, or Austin Eckler's not doing what he was doing the year before, you got to try something different, and he didn't, and he was subject to failure for that. I don't think Campbell's going to reach that level because they are that
it's
good.
It's possible though.
I don't think they fall back to 4 or 5 or 6 wins. Or
oh
whatever.
No.
But
You're right.
I think I think they go.
I thought you meant he won't reach.
I think
Staley's level.
they just go back to like 3 or 4 games, like from 13 wins to 10 wins or 9 wins or something like that. But I do think the Packers win this division.
So the one thing I've been going back and forth between the Packers and the Lions. But the thing is with the Packers, like I said, you need some of those guys. As good as they were last year, you still need someone to become a star. Mm-hmm. I mean, it, like what they did was very impressive without having stars. I would argue that Jordan Love became a star in the second half of the season, but outside of him, no one on that field is someone. You're not looking at any of those guys the way you look at top-notch names. You need one of those guys to become that, I think, to match what the Lions do, but the Lions already have that. Right. So even if they do regress a little, and then their defense got better. I mean, you got young guys, Aiden Hutchinson, Alan McNeil. Nice. They signed fucking Reeder and Davenport. The defensive line is vastly improved. Jack Campbell's
my. I love that dude. 2. I hate. There's so many guys that like
their corners are way better than they were last year. I mean, I get that he's a rookie, but Terrion Arnold. Brian Branch was amazing last year as a safety, someone who comes up in the box, can play slot receiver as well. And then you get Carlton Davis and you put him in there. It's like their second-round pick is a backup right now. Mm-hmm. And they just have, where you guys don't have experience or depth, I would say those are your weaknesses. They have both. And then where I would say the Packers' weaknesses is they don't have any real stars yet on the offensive side of the ball. Which, like I said, a lot of those guys can make that step.
They can make those steps.
But there's no question about the talent on the Lions roster. There's no question if they have stars or not. There's no question if they have depth or not.
Well, they have Jacobs. He's a star.
Jacobs
is a star.
But he wasn't last year. And I do believe he will be now that he's behind a better offensive line and a system where they're not stacking the box all the time. I don't know, man. It's just tough. The Lions arguably have the best roster outside of the
offensively.
The 49ers.
They do. I don't. I'm not a huge. There's a couple
Sam
guys
Laporta,
on defense.
I think is a guy who could step back.
Nice, bro.
He is. He's very good.
All those games.
Yeah.
Let me start from beginning to finish.
Yeah.
6, 19, 9, 10, 1.7, 11, 12, 7. Right. This is why I think that his hype train went crazy. 19.4, 19.2, 15, 5. 20, 17, 26, 15.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though.
Is
that not?
nuts.
We did see Watson do the same thing, though.
Is that not the window where Watson was out?
Let me see.
I'm not 100% sure.
Right
but we saw Watson do the same thing.
I had Watson
prior.
in 2 dynasties, and I feel like I never got a chance to start that guy at the end of the year.
He 2 years ago, I traded a first-round pick for him because at the end of
he was out.
The last month of the season, maybe he was December Watson. That's what.
Yeah.
He was just off.
So he was so good at the end of the year. I traded for him, and then last year he was hurt again. And it's like maybe Reed does the same thing, or maybe Reed becomes a star. I don't know.
Tell me if you disagree with this, because you mentioned they don't have the prototypical star.
He can.
They don't have the star. But if you think about it, the past 30-plus years of Packer football, the quarterbacks really didn't have a mega star on offense.
Except for Adams for that. Like,
Well, they had Devontae. I mean,
Yeah,
he did have
yeah.
Devontae, but I'm, like as far as I mean,
Favre had like Driver
yeah, they had
and
Driver,
Jennings.
yeah, and then
the other guy I'm trying to
Rodgers
think of?
had Jordy for the most part until Devontae emerged.
But Jordy was only a star as soon as he left, did nothing.
So that's why I say like this might be like right in their wheelhouse of what they
No,
do.
I love a lot
like
of those.
the-
guys.
I
I
like the
love their
Packers,
receiving
man.
core. I love
they're
receiving
nice.
core.
That's a
There's
nice
definitely-
nice young group.
I'll tell you one thing. There is going to be a star emerging, if not two.
I think so. I honestly think Reed and Watson both can become like a really good duo, and I think Musgrave is good too. I think Sam
Musgrave's so
Laporta is the
good.
most overrated player in football right now. I think
Why?
because he had
I'll go tell
He
you
had
what
10
did. Let me tell you what he
touchdowns.
did.
Who is?
Sam Laporta.
Oh,
I think he's a really good player, but he's going clear as number one tight end in fantasy
He
football.
probably is, bro. They lost Josh Reynolds. That's already one mouth gone.
I'm not saying he can't be, but what I'm saying is he was touchdown reliant last year. He had 10 touchdowns. He had less yards than Kyle Pitts, and Kyle Pitts' rookie year had more yards than Sam Laporta.
I love Kyle Pitts.
So
I mean,
It's
as
like-
a rookie, though, let me tell you his games.
Yeah, as a
Can I tell
rookie.
you his games, though? Let
Sam
me tell you his
Laporta?
games, yeah.
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna start from the
I
beginning.
know. He was the number one tight end in football last year.
8, 11,
You're telling me something I know. Man.
22, 9. Yeah, there's like kind of 19, 7, 11, 19, 8, 6, 17, 29, 4, 28, 4, 15, 13.
I know.
That's
100%.
fire.
There's,
Yeah.
there's, as I say, that's pretty consistent.
I'm
That's
not
fire.
saying when I say Sam Laporta is being overrated, I'm more talking about fantasy football. I still think he's going to be really good. I still think he'll be a top 5 tight end. But what I'm saying is he had such a good rookie year that people just think that's going to happen again. Well, guess what? Defenses know about him now. They're
Right.
gonna
There
gonna
are
account for
adjustments.
There's
him.
got to be
So
one of
you
the best
just-
tight end seasons, rookie tight end seasons we've seen in a long time.
Kyle Pitts had more yards. Kyle Pitts just didn't have touchdowns.
How many more yards did he have?
Only like 100 more. But what I'm but we,
And how
we
many
didn't
less touchdowns?
like
that
8.
shit.
The touchdown.
Yeah,
But
Pitts-
he had
That's crazy.
he had Matt Ryan behind a fucking one of the worst
Matt
offensive
Ryan
lines
used
in
to be the
football.
man. You were.
It was the end of Matt Ryan's career, and the offensive line was garbage. Kyle, like, well, I
Laporta's
just,
going number 1 though.
I don't think-
tight end number 1.
he was at the beginning of drafts. I believe he still is. I'll double check it.
Everywhere. I don't give a fuck.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
My team's gonna be so stupid.
Laporta got number 1.
It's gonna be
Which
So you
all
got Keenan, Kelsey.
you're just gonna have them fucking retirement
Keating,
squad.
Kelsey. I'll probably
Swift.
get Swift. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so
Now, who
it,
was
so
it?
now so it now it must have corrected itself a little bit. Kelsey's 36, Laporta's 37.
Okay.
But look at look how many far spots behind him.
Bro,
Trey
but-
McBride 11 picks later. Mark Andrews 13 picks later. Dalton Kincaid 14 picks later. Kyle Pitts 24 picks later.
Wow.
So like I'm just not drafting Laporta or Kelsey for that matter in those rounds. Look, like I understand.
How many more catches? I want to. What was the catches? Like,
I would love to see
I gotta go
fantasy
see.
points per route run between. I wish I could look that up between Kincaid and Laporta because
Wait, when does
the
Kincaid
Bills,
go?
On
You said
here?
24.
This did it
Or
fucking go back to?
13.
Let me make sure it didn't go back to standard scoring. No, it's on PPR. So Kincaid is the 5th tight end at 51.
You guys are done in Donnie's league. I got all the players.
In Donnie's league.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Laporta to me is just an enormous fade. In fantasy, I just
Not
maybe
enough
I
of a piece.
maybe I
don't-
look
I
like
don't
an idiot.
dislike him. It's just another one of those guys where like I can honestly say last year I completely missed on him.
Yeah.
But it was like he'll fall, and he just kept scoring and just kept scoring, and then Goff just like looked for him.
Yeah.
So I was a big Jameson Williams fan, so I was hoping that he would emerge.
Maybe this is the year, man.
But I don't know, man. We'll see. That team offensively, you can compare them to anybody. If Goff is, good Goff.
Yeah.
Well, Pitts might be way better.
I don't know, but
as a receiver, I think Pitts is better.
Nah, there's no chance.
What do you? Okay, man.
He sucks, kind of.
Pitts is all right.
His rookie year, he had 1,000 yards.
Yeah, and then he had Desmond fucking Ritter. Desmond Ritter might be worse than Zach Wilson.
Yeah, that meant his rookie year.
No, the year after. I'm saying he
Oh,
had
yeah,
Matt Ryan.
I wasn't
Yeah,
even
once-
looking at
once
those.
Matt
I didn't
just-
even count the next 2 years.
Okay.
Just so you know.
did Matt Ryan die in the field?
Matt Ryan played behind.
He was. I just
Two of the worst
The
offensive
fact,
lines.
the way he just. I was like, Matt, just give it up, man.
He looks so happy now that he's like CBS or something.
Yeah.
Whatever JJ Watt works for, that Matt
Yeah.
Ryan works for them too.
Do we want to talk about that trash team in Minnesota real quick?
Yeah, we'll go through Minnesota
Oh
real
wait,
quick.
I'm not done. I
Hurry
want to
up,
take
man.
or something.
No one cares. Draft Laporta.
Yeah.
I'll draft one of the other guys behind him.
I won't draft Laporta looking at this now, but Pitts, when he had 1,000 yards, he was 68 for 110. I think that's ass.
68 for 110.
Like 68 receptions out of 110 targets. That's almost like 50%. I feel like that's bad.
Yeah, but you have to look at catchable ball, right? I can't do this right now because I have to look into it. You have to look up
Yeah,
catchable
look into
ball.
that.
You have to look up catchable ball rate. You have to look up
Text the
his
group later.
his
You
target
said it
share.
was 1 out of 110.
Yeah,
that's
it's a
only
little more.
68 over 42. That's.
I don't
It's
think
not
that's
great.
good.
It's not
It's
good.
not great.
It's not
I mean,
good.
he had 1,000 yards with only 68 catches, so that's a lot. But
Right.
like, that's a lot of drops and missed catches.
Yeah, I would put that.
People are
more on-
fading
that's
Kyle
just
Pitts, man.
terri- because sometimes they'll throw the ball 10 feet away from. Oh, it was a target because it was towards
Yeah.
I
him.
don't think you could fade Kyle Pitts now though, because we see what T Hawk does with Kirk Cousins. What he did.
I
But
really
the thing
hope.
is- and T Hawk was another guy who was drafted so high and he sucked because his quarterback sucked, or for some reason Stafford just wouldn't throw the tight end the ball.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he gets to a quarterback who throws, it's like, oh, that's the guy we've been waiting on for 6 years now.
Mhm.
Like T.J. Hawkinson was the best tight end prospect for years before we got guys like Kyle Pitts and Bowers and stuff. Like T.J. Hawkinson was that guy. He was like a top 15 pick or something like that.
He's really good.
I might be remembering.
I just know I hated him because he went to Michigan State.
Oh. Oh, he went to Michigan State? I didn't even know
Where
that.
was he picked? Because I want to say he was a top 15 pick.
I think you're right. I think it was like
Here's your
13
handy,
or 14.
handy dandy laptop.
For just this first round, you're not going to tell me where in the first round? It was the first round. Whatever. People just keep saying first round. I'm not going to look more into it. But he was a very high pick. But yeah, like you said, Kirk Cousins tight ends are someone you want.
Yeah.
And
I'll be on
hopefully,
Pitts probably.
but we'll see how he
I
is.
haven't been on Pitts once, so this will be the first time I'm on Pitts.
We'll see how he is with his Achilles, though.
Who,
All right.
Kirk Cousins?
Yeah.
So sling that shit, you heard?
He never really had to run or anything anyway.
Or you
It's
just
not
keep
like
handing it
with
to Bijan. Cool either way.
Bijan's going to go crazy. I can't wait.
I can't wait either. I have Bijan and Brees on one team.
That's fire.
That's insanity.
Bijan and Marvin, Steve's league.
There you go.
My team's kind of fire.
I hate that league.
I made
He
a
should have
dope
gave me
ass
half
rebuild.
off for the first year.
That's
But-
the way I felt. I've been doing
Dude,
that
he
for
gave
3
me a
years.
team. He gave me a
Oh.
team that was ass, and they didn't have picks. Like they had their own picks, but they didn't have. Like, how are you this bad and you don't even have a lot of picks?
That's what happened to me. I had
The
took
only
over
player
Russ's team.
The
I think
only
I took over
two.
Milk's team.
Mm.
I gutted his shit.
There was
I did a
nothing for.
crazy
There was
rebuild.
nothing for me to gut.
Yeah, Milk had some shit. He had Derrick Henry, Kamara, Tyreek Hill.
Bro, the only
D-Hop.
three players I have that anyone would want is Garrett Wilson, Kyle Pitts, who are young.
Let me
I'm
get
not going
Garrett
to
Wilson.
trade that. I'm not trading young guys.
I'll
Like,
take
I
him.
wish I had.
If you're building, those are two great spots. To build.
And then I had and then Kyler Murray, and that's it. I have no one else that should ever be on a fantasy team. Anyway, Vikings. We're not going to talk much about. J.J. McCarthy with the 10th pick, who
did they
I'm
skip?
higher.
Who did they skip on?
J-
What quarterback?
just Bo Nix.
That was it.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
other
they
three
moved,
went
they
ahead
moved
of.
up actually to get JJ.
And I like JJ. I like JJ more than most people do, but this year I'm not expecting much. They got Dallas Turner at pick 17, which I think is a steal, and then
Yep.
they have some fourth and fifth
I wish they
round
would have got
picks.
Penix. That's where I wanted to see Penix go, was to Minnesota.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't right as of right now? Isn't Sam Darnold slated as the starter?
I think they said it's like
For
an
Minnesota?
open competition.
Yeah.
He looked good though when he was playing for the Niners.
Well, I mean, the guy can sling it. There's no doubt
fucking
about it. But
blows.
so Sam Darnold, Aaron Jones, Jetta, Addison,
Maybe that was it.
Powell.
Hawkinson, if he comes
Hawkinson,
back.
and Powell.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Powell's listed as their third wide receiver.
That's okay.
So that's not.
Darnold might be.
I mean, hey, and then you got the two Harrisons on defense.
Yeah, their defense looks.
No, the
disgusting.
very bottom line is they stink and they're
they're
gonna
bad.
stink, and I
Oh, they're
can't wait
bad.
to watch them be horrible.
I'll
If
tell
their
you what, though,
defense should
fantasy
be
was-
bad.
I don't even know if I could take Jetta one. I ain't gonna hold you.
I
No,
would
Jetta,
not,
I wouldn't
I
take
would not
one.
take Jetta.
I would.
one.
I don't know if I can even take Jetta top 5.
I would take him top 5.
I would take him top 5, but not
I
take
can
him
tell you
number
5
one.
people that I'd pick over him.
The thing is he was,
McCaffrey. I'll do it right now.
Okay.
McCaffrey, Garrett Wilson, Stop rolling your eyes, bro. He's probably gonna be wide receiver.
He's not going to
Mark it down. Put it in the
I
notes
was
somewhere.
gonna say with Rodgers, look what he did last
Dude
year with
loves
that.
his receivers.
All right, keep going. Keep going.
Garrett Wilson, Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Can't think. I'm drawing a blank.
Bijan, I'm taking over.
Well,
Probably.
I'm taking Bijan and Brees over on if we were doing
I'm gonna
PPR,
go look at the draft room. Hold on.
regular
The only thing I
redraft.
will say is that Justin Jefferson, even with the hurt quarterbacks that he played with last year, was if he didn't miss all the games he missed, was still on pace for I think 1,800.
Oh,
yards.
he's ridiculous.
With Kirk, he was on pace for over 2,000. I think he didn't fall off much, even with Josh Dobbs and who was the other guy who started quarterback for them? Dude, they used to play for the 49ers.
Darnold,
No,
Nick Mullins. Yeah.
So I still think you have to take it in the top
You guys ready?
7-ish. Yeah.
This is easy. He's not even listed as top 5 on PFF. I'm nice. Or Fantasy Pros. McCaffrey, Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Brees Hall, Jamar Chase, they have over him. I would take Amon-Ra St. Brown over him. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever take Justin Jefferson. I don't think it's possible for me to get
it is
Fantasy
tough
Pros
with
has
it.
him at 5th. You must be looking at standard scoring. You are looking at standard.
Okay.
PBR is 5th.
Let me go there.
I think. Oh man, it's tough.
I'm
man.
taking Garrett Wilson's 13 on here. If Garrett Wilson, all right, let's just move on.
Well, I don't think you're wrong. I think Garrett's going to have a huge year because look at what he did with literally with me playing quarterback
Dude,
for the Jets.
Tell me about it, man. I got him as maybe.
I
Not
think
a
if,
steal.
if Rodgers is there and they gel during, I think Garrett has a huge year,
I think so too.
like monstrous year,
Oh,
not just
huge.
not like 70 catches, 1,100 yards. I'm talking like 90 catches, 1,300 yards,
15.
12 tutties.
17
Yeah.
touchdowns because he's number 17.
We'll see. I'm
Let
high.
me get him.
I'm
Let me
high
get
on.
him.
I'm high on Wilson too, but I think you're.
That's my
a little
guy.
too
I mean,
high
that's
on him.
one of my Buckeyes. I always like that. It's fun to watch.
So yeah, not going to talk much about
Well-
the Vikings. They added Aaron Jones, which is more. It's bigger because of the rivalry, but I don't think that's a huge move at this
It's
stage in his
not.
career.
It was a gap fill.
And then they
You're
signed
an Ohio State fan?
Went to
Gernard.
Ohio State.
did you?
Yeah.
You love my team in Josh's league.
Yeah, he does have the Ohio
I have
State.
the whole core.
I did that last
I'm gonna
year in
show.
Russ's league, and the guys ended up getting hurt. I had.
I'll just
No, this is
he has
a
Olave,
dynasty, bro.
Marv, and Wilson.
Oh, this year.
Oh
It's
no,
dynasty.
dynasty.
Yeah, it's a dynasty.
I have him forever.
Okay.
he said forever.
No, when you said Marv, that's why I was like, you had to have drafted.
Oh,
him.
no,
I don't care when they retire. I'm not dropping them.
I got Marv Olave. Oh, and JSN.
Oh,
Oh,
I forgot
wow.
about
I have JSN.
Think about that.
Marv,
There's a
They
shot.
all went to college
Olave,
together.
Wilson. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
there's a shot of
every one
the wide. Imagine the wide receiver: Garrett Wilson, Olave, JSN, and
Marv.
No, but and Jamison Williams was there too.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He was Ohio State.
He was there before he went to Alabama.
I gotta go get him then.
He's ass. He sucks.
My team's name is OSU.
Well, that's good.
I have a,
So they'll
Jason's
choke- they'll
gonna be
choke
nice
at the
this
end of the
That's
year.
What's his ADP? My bad. Not to
Jason sucks.
He's gonna have a good year, I think.
You hate Gino.
somebody.
You hate
I
Gino.
don't give a fuck. Pick somebody.
But you hate Gino.
Pick somebody that's equivalent to JSN, and I will take JSN.
All right,
versus them.
we'll go at it. We'll go in his. I'm not gonna. Obviously, there's 100 people I'll take over JSN, but
Yeah, that's why I said in his range.
All
Like,
right,
I'm
let me
not
see
gonna
where
say
he's
you
going.
could have Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I'll take JSN,
Right.
which maybe.
Michael Wilson.
Michael Wilson's gonna be good.
JSN.
I
He's
like
not
Michael
no,
Wilson.
No,
All
I'll
right.
take JSN over him. But I think Michael Wilson will be decent for the role they need him to play. Damn, dude, he's far down here, bro.
Yeah, exactly. He'll be on every one of my teams. It's gonna be great. I know my whole team. It's nuts.
Bro, where is he? Did I
Yeah.
pass?
We
him?
gotta write that. We gotta write it all down. Joe wants Keenan Allen.
There's no way he's this far down. I had to pass him.
Josh
DeAndre
Jacobs.
Swift, Josh Jacobs.
Man,
George
JSN.
Pickens is the 27th receiver.
I mean,
That's a guy that's gonna have a good
Oh
year.
my
I
I
think.
don't think so.
I do.
I'll tell you one thing. If Russ is the starter, and I'm not, I know.
Russ will not be
Okay,
the
my bad.
starter very long.
JSN's 45.
Okay.
Keon Coleman's right behind him. Brian Thomas is right in front of him.
Give me JSN.
I'll take Brian Thomas. What do you want to play for?
dinner.
Joey's?
Sure.
And all the
Put it in your
drinks.
phone.
JSN
Don't we have
versus
other
Brian
ones?
Thomas.
Do we have anything else?
I have
It's
going
on
I have the
recording.
rest
You don't
of
have to
them
put it
right
in
now.
your
Put it in
phone.
your phone.
You don't have to put it on the phone. It's on the
Yeah,
recording.
that's true too.
Yeah, but we're not going to remember. We're gonna
JSN
go back.
versus Brian Thomas.
I like that one.
Is it just total fantasy points?
Just
You
total
can be
fantasy
specific.
points. Yeah,
to
total
week
fan-
17.
Yeah.
Just the fantasy season.
All right.
All right.
You want to do fantasy points per game for injuries or no?
Yeah, let's do fantasy points per game.
All right. Where the fuck are my bets at in here?
I crush him every year in these bets.
All right, so let's. I mean, I've already said what I think, but who do you guys think is going to win this division?
I'm gonna go Packers.
That's so tough, man. I think Jordan Love's just a better quarterback than Goff, but you know what? I'm gonna say breakout years by Watson and one of Reed, Wicks, or Dobbs, and I'm gonna go Packers.
So it's unanimous, and if Harry was here, it would still be
He
unanimous.
he sent it to me. He said he said Packers, Lions, Bears, Vikings.
I kind of feel the same way. I do hope the Bears, take that next step.
I think it's gonna be closer than people think between the Bears and Lions.
It's tough to do that with a rookie quarterback. There's very few sensational rookie seasons. I mean, I forget what I know it wasn't a full season, but I always think about like the top, rated quarterbacks when they were coming out. They were these blue chip prospects. But like Peyton Manning went 3-13. I think Aikman went like 1-11 or something. I know he didn't have. I remember it wasn't a full season as a starter. There was just so many guys just have these. Like, in fact, Peyton threw like 28 interceptions that year. Like
it's the microwave culture,
it
man. We
just
expect these people to
happens.
come in and be great. I mean, look. I mean, the criticism Josh Allen gets for not winning a Super Bowl in his first 6 years. That's a ridiculous standard to hold someone to.
Well, look at your competition right immediately.
But yeah, it's just it's the culture nowadays. I mean, no one was talking about Peyton Manning not having a Super Bowl in his first 6 years. Like, no, it's 6 years. Guys back then were playing 12, 13. Now they're playing 20.
Yeah.
You're not even talking about the halfway mark of a career of a guy in the 80s, much less the 2020s.
Right.
I'm not going to say who cares because I've been sad every time we get knocked out of the playoffs. But it's like that criticism of like, oh, Lamar doesn't have a Super Bowl yet.
Like Pat Mahomes, like that dude's just doing it.
If anything, that should lower the criticism because you got a guy who's
you gotta
doing things that
understand.
only Tom Brady has done.
Yeah.
Like it's you. And it's the same way with the rookie QBs, and it's going to be worse now because C.J. Stroud went so crazy. But it's just like these guys gotta get.
He's nice.
They gotta get in some. And in
You don't
some
think he
way,
can do it again?
I think
It's
he's gonna
tough.
do-
I think he can do it, but again, just like we were talking about, you got these, all
all they
these
did was
names on
upgrade for
offense.
his ass,
Is
though.
your defense going to keep you in
Yeah,
those
that's fair.
games?
But they-
You know?
Their defense ain't bad.
Their
Well, they
defense
got
is
Daniel
Petrie.
Hunter.
Their defense
Petrie.
is Hunter.
They
Or,
got Petrie,
Hunter's
Stingley in the back.
decent.
Stingley.
They got Daniel Hunter and Will Anderson on the front.
Will
and they
Anderson,
signed
yeah.
Miko Autry, who's not a Pro Bowler, but he's good.
And then added Diggs and Mixon.
They added a couple decent linebackers, that Shahir guy or whatever his name is, and then there was another dude that's blanking right now. I'm telling you that right now that if Josh Allen was on the Texans, Super Bowl. So Stroud,
100%.
So Stroud better fucking make some.
I think they have a chance for a
noise.
Super Bowl now.
I
thought
had
about
them as
taking
my
it.
best team in the AFC.
I ain't gonna lie, I thought about taking it.
I took them as the best team in the AFC.
And they have Dalton Schultz too. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, not a Stroud. Yeah.
And they, there's guys that are there. They have some depth too.
All right, so coming in second, I have the Lions.
I also have the Lions, but it's going to be a tight race, I think, between them and the Bears.
I don't. Think
I'm
it's
going to
gonna
go
be
with
that
the
tight.
Bears because it's
I
hard
like
for me.
it.
It's hard for me to
I like it.
know like that the Packers are that good and they're ready.
Yeah.
Like they showed that they're ready, and I feel like the Lions playing the first place schedule, they dip back a little bit. I gotta believe my guys are going to win 10 games.
Fuck yeah.
So
I have the Bears at.
You think it's a
3.
gap, though? Because you looking like you think it's a gap.
I think it's a gap.
it could be tie.
I don't
It could
think
be a
it's
tie. The
close. I
Bears
think
and Lions could both win 10
talent-wise-
games.
Talent-wise, it's not that big of a gap if you're only counting starters. But it's inevitably injuries happen, and the Lions are built to withstand injuries. That's why they're a championship contender. Like they lose depending. Obviously, you lose Goff or you lose Amon-Ra, things could get bad quickly. But almost every other position, they have decent guys to kind of stem the bleeding. I think the weakness of the Bears is if you lose outside of the receiver position, you lose an offensive lineman. They don't really have great backups. You lose if Montez Sweat for some reason gets hurt. He transformed that entire defense last year. You have they're kind of on it's like a house of cards. It's like it can
But if they
collapse.
Yeah.
They need a lot of luck, I think. I honest, like I said, if they were in another division, I could see them winning the South. I can see them competing for second place in the other two divisions. I just think in that division, you got even the Vikings. If JJ McCarthy is
But you don't think
decent, that's still
you
a
don't think they can
that's a
win 9
hard game
games?
to. Yeah, but I
don't
think
think the Lions can.
I think the
win less
Lions are
than
winning
10?
at least 10. I think if the Lions win 10 games, that's a worse season. That's like the worst end of the season for them, unless they have made catastrophe of injuries. Like, I think if they stay relatively healthy, 10,
What's their schedule? Let's go over it real quick.
10 wins is the floor for the Lions.
I'm curious.
For the Lions?
Yeah,
It's fun because I did this for the Bills the other day.
Did
so
you?
yeah, it's just fun to look at the games. And it's like, you start looking at, oh, this one's on the road or this one's like it's
Yeah.
let's take a look.
All right. So no one cares about preseason. So first game of the year, Rams.
At
They could
Rams
just
or a
lose that
home?
shit.
No, home.
They could just lose though.
They can lose any game. I get it, but Buccaneers, they should win that
They
game.
should win that one.
So
Cardinals.
You got them 2-0. Can you say if they're on the road or at home? Just 'cause
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
First
I'm
two
going
games are
1-1.
at home.
I'm going. They're splitting that.
I'm saying
2-0 at home.
Okay.
Cardinals on the road.
Loss.
Really?
Yep.
You guys think that they're gonna just
Kyler's
hold
back,
Cooper
man.
Cup and Puka
Kyler's
Nacua?
back.
I think
Gotta take the
their
Kyler
offense is
effect.
great, but the Cardinals defense is still going to be
Yeah,
butt
we'll see.
cheeks. Seahawks at home.
Easy win.
So let's say 3-1. Let's say
3-1.
we all have them at 3-1.
3-1. I'll go with
Cowboys on the road.
it. Loss.
I think the Cowboys aren't that good this
They're
year.
regular season champs, bro.
They are.
They
but
are.
Vikings on the road. That's
is
a win.
Is that that game against Dallas? Is that just a regular 1:00 or is that a
425.
Okay, so that's probably the game of the week thing. At
Yeah.
yeah.
So what were they,
So-
4-2?
If you take them beating the Vikings, you'd say 4-2.
No, well, I took them losing to Dallas.
I got them
So
losing
Which would
to
be
Dallas.
that you would have 3-2, and then
Alright.
the Vikings would be the 6th game.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're taking the Vikings. You're taking the
So 3-3 I'm at?
no. You'd be 4-2 if you took them over the Vikings.
No,
You're taking
I'm
the Vikings
3-3,
to
I
beat
think.
them.
No.
Then you'd be 4-2.
I got them at
You have them losing to the
4-2.
Rams and the Cowboys.
Okay.
All right. So
I got
game-
them losing to the Cardinals and the Cowboys.
That's fun.
So still 4-2.
4-2. Yep.
All right. Titans at home. They have the Titans at
That's a
home.
win.
That's a win.
That's a
5-2.
win.
Packers on the road.
Loss.
I'm going to say it's a loss.
5-3.
5-3. Texans on the road. That's
Loss.
a loss. 5-4. Jaguars at home. I'm going to take. They
I'm
could
taking
lose
the Jags.
I'm going to take the Lions. 6-4.
5-5.
I'll go with the Lions at home.
I'm
on
going
that one.
5-5.
All right. Packers Colts on the road. I'm saying that's a win. So I have them at 7-4.
Which is nice, bro.
I don't.
Their defense is awful too.
I'll give him the win on that one.
All right, 6-5.
I
I
have
don't
them
want
I
to.
have them at
though.
7-4.
Well, I'm gonna give them one because you know what I mean.
Bears at home. I'm taking that win. I'm gonna be generous. And I'm gonna give them splits with both the Packers and the Bears. So right now I'm at 8-4. It's
I
Bears
think I'm
at
7-5.
home.
I got the Bears went sweeping the Lions
Who's
this
at
year.
home?
The Lions.
I'll give them. The
So you're 7-5.
I'm
You're
I'm-
6-6.
Bears are going to beat them in Detroit.
All
'Cause-
right.
And you want to know what? Because I'm going to go.
Then I have them splitting with the Packers. I say they beat the Packers at home.
Is that Thanksgiving?
No, it's December 5th.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I feel like the Packers got to.
I forget. I was looking at the schedule. I get it.
The
Two-
only reason I feel like they have to is because they kicked them out the playoffs. I mean,
two hotly contested. Like they're both very good. I
I go 1-1. All right, yeah, split.
The
So-
Bears,
so I'm
the
at
Bears
9
owe them
wins.
for
So what
choking.
am I at? 8.
8.
The Bears owe them for choking in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then they have. So I have them at 9 wins. Bills on the road or at home. I'm gonna say the Bills win. Homer.
Yep.
So I'm gonna say
I'm at 8
Loss.
7.
Yep.
9. So I have 9 wins right now.
I'm at loss.
And then Bears. I'll give you that one. Still at
Loss.
9 wins.
8 and
Damn,
8.
you guys might have me. 49ers on the road.
8
That's
and
a
9.
loss.
Loss.
And then they have the Vikings at home. So I'm gonna say they're
Win.
gonna win 10 games.
I'm at 9 and 9
And
or
that's
9
where
and
I
8.
was at. I was like, they're going to be around 10 wins,
Okay.
9
Wait, how many
wins.
weeks are there? 8. How many
17.
games? 7.
17.
The one
Dude,
thing
9
I will,
and 8.
But
That's
all they got to do
crazy.
is upset one of those other teams. I don't know. Like they only lost. They
Tell me the Bears schedule now.
They held their own with
Pull up the Bears schedule.
All right, dude.
This is important.
Home against the Titans.
Oh, that's easy win.
Don't sleep on the Titans.
Dude, Titans blow. Well, they got Ridley and D Hop. Them dudes suck.
Nuggets.
I'm just kidding.
All right, Bears. I'll get you guys.
Actually,
I'll give
I
you
want to
guys
write this down because I remember doing this the other day and I started laughing. My buddy's like, he goes, "You might be right."
I'll give you the win over the Titans. That's one win.
Okay.
And so we all got one there.
Yeah.
They're losing to the Texans on the road.
I agree.
So it's one win.
That's a O.
Colts on the road.
That's a win.
So you guys think the Colts are going to beat
I
Detroit
gave-
in Detroit?
I
but
I
did.
gave
not-
the Colts.
Oh, you did.
I gave the Colts.
I didn't.
Or I gave
I had to
Detroit
say
the win.
I said
Oh, okay.
Detroit
All right,
will
all
win.
right. I'm going to give that to the Colts. So one win.
That's
Um,
the Bears are at Texans, right? It's home against. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, they're at the Texans.
Okay, and then they're at the Colts.
Colts.
I think that
That's
they,
another game
they
I
can
might
win
go
that
to.
shit.
I have one. So I have them at 1 right now. The Rams at home. I'm going to take the Rams. But like you got, and then okay,
I'll take
Panthers.
the Rams too.
Panthers. That's 2 wins for me.
That's a win.
Jaguars at home. I'm gonna take the Jags, man.
Wow. I remember doing this. I was there thinking, there's no way this is going to happen.
It gets
Keep
a little
going.
bit. The next 3 weeks are pretty easy. Commanders, even though you're on the
Yeah.
road, I'll take that one.
So Bears.
The Cardinals on the road.
That's the one. Like,
So I'm at 3
Bears.
wins.
The Bears actually play well in that stadium.
I'll take the Bears.
Mm.
The Bears are nice.
Yeah, there's
Cardinals,
no way
I think,
they're
are
doing
gonna
all
be-
this. Yeah, I'm gonna put an L on the road.
Yeah, so I have them at 3 wins. Then they have the Patriots at home. I'll give them 4 wins. Packers at home. I'm still taking the Packers. You have the Vikings at home. I'll give them 5 wins there. Lions on the road. That's a loss.
Is it raining?
Yeah. 49ers on the road. That's a loss.
That's a loss.
Vikings, if you will say you sweep them, so that's
Okay.
6 wins. Lions at Chicago. Maybe 7, but I'm going to take the Lions. You have the Seahawks at home. We'll give you that one.
Dude, you know what?
7 wins, and then you go into Green Bay. So yeah, I think you guys win 8 games, and then I think the Lions win 10 or 11.
Wow.
I think you're shitting on the Bears, bro.
I'm not, bro. You gotta think.
All right, so the Jags blow. They can easily win that game.
You gotta think
They
how
can win that game easily.
You just said that the Jags might
I
beat
take it back. Bears win that for me.
You said the Jags might beat the Lions. You said the Jags could be good.
They could be.
Now you're like they blow.
No, there are a couple games that I'm looking at here that when I did this before, where I was like, yeah, we're gonna win this, we're gonna lose that one, we'll win.
I said they were almost locked in for a playoff spot. I was way
the
wrong.
NFC's not as bad as it was last year, man. And
I think when I originally did this, I did a split with the Lions, but because we're sitting here and I just can't, I freaking hate the Lions.
you just gotta think
So
how
I'm
good.
gonna, according to what I'm looking at, I'm gonna have them at 11-6.
Oh my god,
That's wild.
Oh, you guys are taking second
Fair.
for sure.
Oh wow.
11-6 is crazy.
Right, but my original, because I switched the Lion thing, but before I had them at 10-7.
Oh, okay.
That's where I really feel the Bears were gonna be.
So
But after switching that, now
11-6. Fuck it.
So the one thing I'll say is you look at the Texans, that's as good as you can expect a rookie quarterback to play. They won 10 games. They almost lost the
what
playoffs
was
on
their
a
schedule?
terrible catch, on what should have been a catch against Indy. The guy drops it. That's the only way they make the playoffs. Of course, they win one playoff game and then they get dusted by the Ravens, which no
What was
foul
Houston's
there.
schedule
right, that's
last
just
year?
learning.
And they lost Tank Dell,
I'm-
which is a huge hit to them because Tank
I-
Dell went
he
nuts.
was carrying them.
yeah,
on offense.
I'm just saying,
like
man.
Nico Collins, yeah, but Tank Dell.
If you want and they weren't in nearly as tough of a division either.
How is it tough now? Who's in the division?
It's not as tough as the North is. Last year's South was the Titans were garbage. The Colts,
they're
who
still gonna
somehow
be
still
garbage.
won
Is
9 games.
Is Levis still? He's just a starting quarterback.
I'm just saying,
That could
man,
be Eaton, maybe.
they're in
Yeah,
a
they
tougher
were-
division, and we gotta assume that Caleb, even if he is good, we can't assume he's going to be that good. He might be because he has a better surrounding cast, even as good a surrounding cast that what's his name had.
Dude, he might be that. He might be better.
No one loves Caleb Williams.
He
more than
might
me,
do a
man. There's a whole
5K.
group chat that was made because I said you should trade 3 firsts and
I
TJ
love
Watt for
Caleb.
him.
I just don't like. To me, it's like I want to see the execution. Like,
Yeah.
To me, because it's what is he, the fifth overall rated quarterback prospect in the history of the NFL?
Why
or is it
CJ
sixth?
why CJ Stroud was so good and why he translated the NFL better than every rookie in a very long time is because he's willing to take what's given to him, which is weird because that's how Ohio State plays, but it never translates for anyone else.
IQ was better in NFL
Yes.
than it was in college. I'll tell you that shit.
It was
right
probably
now.
the same, but
Nah, it's better, bro.
but obviously he's a year older, but he has a coach
That's not
that
what I mean,
he,
though.
he has a coach that knows the NFL game, and the
I guess that
reason
makes sense for it to be better,
Stroud was
actually.
so good
Well, he's learning the game.
is because he played a pro style already. He doesn't need the big plays. He is completely okay with checking the ball
he'll take
down.
the-
And
He'll take the big
and
plays.
he'll run,
but he'll
too.
get the defense to come up before he tries to do the big plays. He plays chess when he plays football. Every time you hear him talk about it on podcasts, you're like, he sees it. He sees everything, which is what rookies normally don't do. Caleb, if I have one knock on him, is he kind of plays like Aaron Rodgers. It's like he's so talented, he knows it, and is he going to take
And
the
does
underneath
a little
stuff?
extra that sometimes
Like
costs
watch
you.
him at USC. That team did suck, but he also held the ball. He did hold the ball way too long. I know I said
Yeah, but his
earlier that
team
he's not going to
fucking
do that,
blows,
but
Right,
bro.
but that was
I get
him,
it,
That
but
was him
this a
trying
whole-
to extend
yes.
the play. That's him trying to extend the play.
is it just that? We'll see. But there's a question mark that he could be like The one thing Aaron Rodgers, the one knock against Aaron Rodgers is sometimes he doesn't take what the defense gives to him. And when you see that when he plays teams like the 49ers who had great defenses, the reason Tom Brady was better is because Tom Brady would be like, "Oh, you're blitzing me? I'll take 7 yards. I'll take 7 yards." And then Aaron Rodgers is like, "No, I want 50." And then when you have 4 elite defensive linemen coming at you, everything falls apart. You saw it with Jordan Love. Jordan Love took that shit. Their offense got better by losing Aaron Rodgers. As stupid as that sounds.
Right. But I think the
is
thing
Caleb
for Rodgers,
going
though,
to do that? Is Caleb going to be like, "Hey, they're gonna blitz me because they're gonna see if I can make the good decisions"? Keenan Allen, you're open every time. Rome, you're open every time. Or is he going to try to huck it to DJ Moore every single play?
Me and Keenan Allen are going to get 1.7, 1.6,
That's the question.
1.5, 1.13.
I think the
2.4 every single down.
I think the flip side of the Rodgers thing is that even though he may not have given or taken what was given to him, he never really threw too many bad interceptions. He didn't throw interceptions as it was. So he might have thrown a bad pass or might have, turned the ball over on, downs or time to punt, but he never really made the horrific mistake. I mean, the guy would throw 5 interceptions a year?
No. He's absolutely one of the greatest ever. I just think that ended up being his undoing in a lot of the.
I don't think he threw 5
all
a year.
the time that the only reason Tom Brady had more Super Bowls than Aaron Rodgers was because the defenses he was given. I've made that argument 100 times as well. But once they both matured, and it was like, okay, you're in year 15 now. Like Tom Brady. And Harry would shoot me
He's 40.
if I said this in front of him. But Tom Brady knew how to win games. Well, and I get it.
He executed.
His first 3 or 4 Super Bowls, he doesn't win those if he has the surrounding cast that Aaron Rodgers had. I still will hold that till my dying day. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers wins the Atlanta Super Bowl. I don't think Aaron Rodgers the Eagles Super Bowl, I think Aaron Rodgers could have done that. Even though Tom Brady lost,
Yeah.
I think the way that game was going, he could have done that. But it's just those certain games. The Atlanta game is it. Like I don't know if Aaron Rodgers
to me was like the epitome of like, hey, I'm Tom and I'm going to show you.
To me, Aaron Rodgers
when they came back
Atlanta
against the
game.
Falcons.
Oh yeah.
To me, Aaron Rodgers would have been like, "Fuck, we need score now." Hail Mary.
Yeah.
The patience, the decision making, that is what we need to see from Caleb for me to be like, okay, he can have a similar year to Stroud, because that's what Stroud did.
I can agree with you, because when I look back at that Super Bowl, I still vividly just watching it, the amount of times where Brady would look and they just go, okay, James White, look.
Or Edelman, 7 yards.
But it was
8
literally
yards,
like
10
just
yards.
it was like, oh, I can't doop. And what do you have, like 12, 13 catches, James White?
Yeah, Edelman had a crazy amount too.
That's just took what the defense gave him, and they moved the ball.
So if Caleb is able to do that, but they're question marks, man. I'm just not willing. I'm not willing to just give him 10 wins until I see that. I probably will draft him everywhere. Fucking if he's the 17th quarterback going off the board.
Like I said, I'm excited, but I'm also realistic. Like even me saying, like after flipping the split with the Lions to make it 11 wins, because I really think the Bears can win 10. But that's what I feel like. It's such a different situation where if the Bears get to 10 wins, I'm like, hell yeah. But if the Bills get to 10 wins, you're like, shit, man, what the hell happened?
This year, I'm not. This year, I just want as fucked up as it sounds, I just want the division, get into the playoffs, get a home game, and then anything could happen with the Bills. I'm not. If we only won 11 games, but we win the division, I'd be ecstatic.
I want to go get IU.
Because I've said 1,000 times.
I want that shit so bad.
He showed up to camp today, I know, and everyone's like,
we can, but I don't think we will.
I want him so bad.
The Bills want to build a well-rounded team. They do not want to
Ayuk
give
is
some
young
guy.
and mad good.
Yeah, but you give him $30 million, and now you're held up against the wall. You got to do at this point in your career. I would have wanted Ayuk like the same way I wanted Diggs. You're on the rookie contract, go fucking get him. But now you have to be like Josh Allen, elevate guys. We're gonna draft you rookies. You need to make them into Ayuk because you can't afford anything.
He picked Keon.
He picked him. It's crazy to look, but that's exactly what the Packers have done. They've gone and they got their quarterback, and now they've drafted a whole bunch of young wide receivers.
But they didn't do this before. This is new.
They never drafted guys in the first round, but they went and they had guys. But the thing for me, it's like that's what the Bills like. I mean, you look at their receiving core right now, and I keep
kinda like it.
It's
I
like
love what
it's
they
like
do.
this
Yeah.
it's like this group of misfits, but any of those guys could be amazing.
Yeah.
I love what the
Josh
Dolphins are doing.
Allen could make them. That's what good
I think
quarterbacks do.
I stick to this. I don't care what no one says. I think trading Diggs is going to make Josh Allen better, and I don't care what nobody's. Well, I mean, hang on, you guys know what I'm saying? Like,
No, I-
No, I
understand that
instantly
Diggs,
know what you mean.
Diggs was key to Josh Allen being Josh Allen.
Yeah, and
Josh
Dig-
Allen
Dig
also
said the same thing.
Yeah. But I think without the pressure of feeling I have to get this guy, there's no
Right.
number one.
Right.
So he's gonna take what's there or who's open.
I think you
and
see
it-
more runs with Cook now, and that you like. I
It's
think
scheme fit, too, yeah.
Kincaid's gonna have a great year. I mean, you got all these other guys that are like basically on prove-it contracts.
Yeah.
Minus Keon,
It's-
you know.
It's scheme fit too. Like Joe Brady offenses, you don't feed one person. And honestly, when it gets to playoff time, that might be better. But you
Yeah, but
might
like,
see
and
Josh
that was happening,
Allen-
but then you see like we don't know what they're arguing about, but you see Diggs all pissed off on the sideline. Like that shit's gonna get in your quarterback's head.
Yeah, I love what
That's
the
why
Bills
I'm
are doing,
interested
man.
to see what happens in Houston. Like really, like. You know, do you just say, rah, rah, we're winning, yay, I'm happy? Or do you just say, man, I'm Stephon Diggs, I still didn't get 90 catches, man, where's the ball? He could literally go in there and blow them up.
Because it's
And
crazy because we were winning too, so I don't know.
Well,
I don't know, man. I love the fact that they got Joe Mixon, though. That, to me, that was probably one of my favorite moves of the offseason because that guy, man, when he is healthy, he's just a freaking wrecking ball.
yeah, we'll finish up football talks. I want to give you some room to talk about your Celtics, but the thing with the Bills. I'll say it 100 times until the season starts. This season isn't the goal. The goal is a Drew Brees-esque, a Peyton Manning-esque, where they didn't win their first half of their careers,
And they start
and then
winning.
they retooled. You gotta be able to recognize when the guys that you have right now aren't the guys that are going to get it done. Retool. You know how Josh Allen plays now. You know what you need in your scheme.
That's why I like the guys
they
they
have
went
a
and got,
shit.
man.
Yeah, they have a shit.
I swear
ton
to
of-
you, that's why I like it.
they have a shit ton of picks. They're never gonna have a shit ton of money as long as Josh Allen's on the team. But I believe
Right now, though, what is he like the fifth or sixth paid
yeah,
quarterback?
but what I'm saying is you're just not. If
We'll
you
be
if
gone
you
for
if
like
you,
what 3-4 more years before the
yeah, no,
re-signing?
I'm not saying it's a bad contract. I'm just saying if you have paid your quarterback, you're never going to have a lot of money in free agency. But they're going to have where this year they had to cut all these guys. Next year they're going to I think we'll around 30 million. So they're going to be able to add a really good player next year, or maybe they have to add a couple decent guys. But they are this year and next year were like the load up years to build for what's going to be another 5-6 years, hopefully, of Bills dominance. I think we win the division this year. If we don't, it's not the end of the world
I don't
because
think
we
so
have a
either.
better future. And I'll say this: the Bills and the Patriots. You want to be a Bills and Patriots fan before you want to be a Jets and a Dolphins. Because if the Jets and Dolphins don't get it done right now, they're never getting it
Well,
done.
Right.
Because Tua is not good enough to elevate guys like Josh Allen is. Aaron Rodgers is in the league 1 or 2 more
but
years, and then you're back into the quarterback carousel. Meanwhile, the Bills have Josh Allen. Pray to
But the
God he
Jets-
stays talent. Sorry, let me finish.
bad.
And then you have the Patriots, who if Drake May was not far behind, and for some reason the Commanders overthought it, and they drafted a 24-year-old over 21-year-old Drake May. Drake May can end up being the second best quarterback in this class and the second best quarterback of the last 4 or 5 years. And now it's the Patriots and the Bills every year because the Dolphins drafted Tua and Tyreek's getting old.
They
and
said
Aaron
they weren't going
Rodgers.
to pay Tua too. I think
I hope they do. I pray they
they
do.
said they're not gonna.
I
and I
pray
Yeah,
they
as a
do.
Bills fan, you want him to because you know he's just
Oh,
he's
absolutely.
a one concussion away.
But
from
my thing is that if you're not going to pay him, why didn't they draft a quarterback? Like as an organization, that's not good.
Let
I
me
think
ask.
they're
Let me
all in
ask.
on this
Let me
year.
ask the two Bills fans this: are you afraid of the Jets this year?
I won't say I still. I think their defense is legit. Maybe one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the league. I mean, I think their defense is good as this is something about them and the Patriots. As bad as their offenses were, for their defenses to still look that good, because a lot of times you see really talented defenses look bad, and it's just they're on the
They were
field
still
too
trying
much.
to win.
They're
Right.
tired. All that. The Patriots and the Jets still had top 5 defenses, even though their offenses were letting them down consistently. So yeah. That defense scares the fuck out of me. And then if Aaron Rodgers, I think people are thinking he's still an MVP caliber type player. I still think he's a good player.
I
Yeah.
still think
he's definitely
going to be
good.
like the 9th or 10th best quarterback in the league. But guess what? That's fucking 20 times better than Zach Wilson.
100%.
So
I'm afraid of them.
if we lose the division, it's going to be the Jets.
just think about
a
like
lot of people are picking the Dolphins, and I think that's ridiculous.
I would pick the Jets before I pick.
I think the
Dolphins
Dolphins. I think the Dolphins
If
suck.
Rodgers is healthy, and
I
you
think the
look
Dolphins
at,
are-
look at
Dolphins are
what
closer
Brees
to the
and Garrett.
Patriots.
than they are to the Bills and the
Yeah.
Jets. I agree. I think like the Dolphins, you got a year of them knowing this offense a little bit more. Their offense is still going to be great, but Tyreek, as good as he might be this year, can't be as good as he was last year.
Right.
And maybe he is, and I have to eat my words.
Hey,
but
if
the
he does,
odds,
good for him.
The odds,
But even if he does, where does that get them?
the odds that he,
That's all.
what did they win? 10 games last year? 11 maybe? 10.
11.
No, because we won 11.
Right,
we won the
right,
division.
right.
So
Oh, yeah, you guys finished with the same record, and then you got the tiebreaker or something.
maybe it was 11.
Something
11.
like that.
But what I'm saying is, you need Mostert. Mostert's not going to be as good as he was last
But,
year.
what's his name's nice.
Hill's
They
not
just
going to be
added
as good as
Jalen Wright.
nice as he was last year. They lose
I do
Christian
like their-
Watkins.
I like their backfield. I do like their backfield.
Yeah.
I just think when you look at
But-
like Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson and what they did with nothing
And that's the other thing.
to do that, to have a healthy Rodgers.
The offensive
And
line
that's
will be
another thing,
better.
though, you said that if the Jets don't do nothing this year, not for nothing, when they lose Aaron Rodgers, they will still have a great team and just have to insert
But
a quarterback.
what have we seen people do with that? The Falcons have had great teams. They've been ass. The Jets have had great teams. They've been ass.
So not like this.
It's been the same team for the past 2 years. I mean, I get Brees got hurt 2 years ago, but it's like they had playoff caliber teams.
You see what Mike White did with them?
It does not matter. You need at least
Didn't they go 9-7 or something 2 years ago? Like,
yeah.
or 10-7 or 9-8 or whatever.
I don't know what it was.
There's very few teams who there's exceptions to the rule, but outside of a couple teams, if you do not have a good to great quarterback, you have no chance. I don't care how good the rest of your team is.
100%.
The
It's a
Steelers are an
quarterback-driven
exception.
league.
The Steelers are an exception because they're so well coached and they built and like their
They got a
defense.
quarterback on defense.
They have like TJ Watt.
Watt is
The
insane.
amount of games they win because of him. So I would say the Steelers are an exception, and I don't even know if I could think of another one off the top of my head. The only team that doesn't have a great quarterback that if we played in the playoffs right now, I'd be like they have a possibility of beating us would be the Steelers. No one else. There's no one else. I
So
don't
you,
care
you
how
admit
good the
that Brock Purdy's a good quarterback?
He's good. He's good. He's not. A lot of you guys are like he's an MVP candidate. He's not that. Well, he was obviously. He's not. He shouldn't be. I think he's.
But
good.
he was. He was an MVP
He
candidate,
should have
and
been,
he's
but
good.
so was Tua. Tua's not that great.
Rex Grossman was an MVP candidate when the Bears went to the Super Bowl too. So
Yeah. So we'll have that conversation another day when we do that.
I can't wait till
division.
Brock Purdy's good again.
I can't wait
He's
for
my
that.
backup in
I can't
Steve's
wait
league.
for
That's
Debo
crazy.
to
That's a good
retire.
backup.
Brock Purdy.
I can't wait for Debo to retire, for Ayuk to get traded.
I don't want Debo to retire yet.
But
And
he'll
then,
still have McCaffrey to crutch on.
and then McCaffrey's getting old too, man. When they pay that man $50 million, we're gonna see if he's good.
Who?
Brock Purdy.
They're not gonna pay him $50 million.
What?
I don't think they're gonna.
Every quarterback who gets paid from here on out will make at least $50 million.
You think so?
Every starting caliber
I don't
quarterback.
think so.
Dude, they're talking about giving.
Love's about ready to get $60 million.
They're talking about giving Tua $52 million.
They're not.
Brock
giving him
Purdy
money.
is going to get at least 60 because his contract's up for another year. Too,
They
right?
might give him 60 because think about it, like technically he brought them places.
Yeah.
If they do that, and I was talking to Harry yesterday about it. If they do something like that, they really, really have to. The NFL will have to like change the salary cap
Yeah.
number because that's just a ridiculous number.
It's crazy how far up that the prices are going.
So
I think so.
All right, so that's a great segue to salary cap conversations because what the fuck? Why are the Celtics just allowed to break every salary cap rule?
It doesn't make no sense.
No,
I was looking at all the signings. I'm
Brad
like, how do they
Stevens
have
is a
enough
genius.
money?
Is a
Dude,
genius.
that is nuts.
I saw a thing today where it's Porzingis, Hauser, Pritchard, and Spencer, a total of 158 million, and OG it's like 200 million or something.
well, that's total contracts. I'm just talking about the yearly and the cap. You're talking like you guys have. Tatum's contract doesn't start until next year, but he's already making over 30. Tatum is not like the one he just signed.
Yeah.
But not next year, the year
Right.
after.
Yeah.
But still, Tatum was already making like 35-ish. Brown's contract already began where he was the highest paid player in the NBA. Porzingis is making over 30. Drew Holiday is making over 30. Now Derek White's making over 30.
I can't understand.
And your cap was like at 190 before the Derek White signing. But meanwhile, the Knicks, another staff, and I don't want to get it wrong, but I believe it was like our entire starting five salary cap wise is only like 20 million more than Brown and Tatum. But we can't keep Hartenstein. We can't spend another $30 million, but they can, even though
you
they
guys wanted to though because of Mitch Rob.
they know he's not going to be on the court. Like he just is
I don't
hurt
know.
all the time. It's just
I think they're not basing it off of injury.
I just use that as an example. Like I'm not like Hartenstein. I don't think he's a $30 million player.
And you guys signed OG. You're gonna have to sign Josh
even
Hart.
with the OG contract is what I was saying.
Josh Hart.
Josh Hart we have for another 2 years. Dante we have for another 2 years.
What about
Jalen Brunson? Just took fucking half of what he needed to take.
That to me was like that dude wants to be on that. That was an amazing move by that.
If
guy.
you win
He
with
is
the
so
Knicks,
fun
you
to
will
watch,
make.
too.
If you win with the Knicks, you will make more in fucking endorsements than you would ever make in that contract. He grew up rich. His dad was like he's fine. He doesn't need all the money. I love Jalen Brunson.
I
I'm
do
gonna buy
too.
10 of
That's
his jerseys.
again. It's another team. Like every time, like I think of guys who are like, man, I just wish they weren't on that team. And like to me, like Jalen being on the Knicks.
Again. I know he's nice, but I want to see him do it.
Oh, you will.
The shit he was doing, man, that shit is insane.
You will. Because he was
I
already
wanna
doing
see
it the
that
year
shit
before.
again.
He just took a step. It wasn't like he went from nothing
It
to.
was a huge step, though.
It was no. He
It
went
was a
from
big
like
step.
16 in Dallas to like 23 in New York the first year, and they went from 23 to like 30 this year.
That's a
That's a
lot.
reasonable step for a guy
23 to
going
30.
from going into his first year
It was
as a
probably more than 30. It was probably like 34.
No, it wasn't 34. He
What
led
was
the league
it?
in scoring if it was 34.
Yeah, I think
I
a lot
believe
of
it was like 28, 29.
I was
but
talking
I'll-
about in the playoffs.
Oh, the playoffs is probably like
I know
34,
he'll be he could be the same in the regular season. I want to see him do what he fucking did in
He
the playoffs.
doesn't have to do it
again.
in the playoffs though.
Why does
That's the point. Because now, assuming health, you have Mikal Bridges,
you guys
Julius
did get Mikal
Randle,
Bridges.
OG.
What are you talking about? You guys got some shit.
What the fuck you mean? I was just arguing with you 2 weeks ago. We're about to win it all. Watch Porzingis never play again because of them dumbass injuries. You guys get one more injury and we fucking
Hey, I'll
binking.
tell you right now.
Horford.
The very bottom line. Oh, yeah, that's what Al was on that placard
Yeah.
too with all of. That's right. He was on there too. For me, if the Celtics don't make it back,
You don't give a
whatever.
fuck.
No, the thing is, I knew I was really disappointed when they lost to Golden State because they were better than them that year too.
Well, it's because Jason Tatum's just a choke
No,
artist.
well, Tatum just didn't show up in the playoffs.
again,
Well, no, he showed up.
he
this
showed
time.
up for a game.
No,
and then
he
would be
showed up
gone
this
for 2
time. I don't want to
games.
hear that from anybody. He led them in all categories. What he didn't do was Jalen was clutch, and that's why Jalen like he deserved to
But
be
the thing
MVP.
is, he did lead
Jalen
them in
ain't got no dribble,
categories.
though.
He did lead them in categories, but it would be like he would have 2 more points than Brown per game, and it was because he scored 51 game. But the other games he would score like 15.
Yeah,
So,
but
like-
that didn't happen in this particular playoff run, though. I mean,
It did,
they were
in the conference finals. In the conference finals, he scored
Tatum
like
didn't score 50.
no. That was just
No,
being
no, no,
exaggerative.
saying-
but-
No, I'm
he
looking at my
scored-
because remember Game 7, like he hit like a couple years ago.
No,
He
I
scored
know.
50. Like I'm.
What I'm saying is that he scored less than 20 too many times.
I just feel like
shot.
the
Like, he had
thi-
the worst. He had the worst like
the-
3-game.
The thing that got lost in this playoff run is that Tatum emerged as a team guy and a like he had a triple double, but it was like he was willing to pass the ball up. Look, if you look at
I
every,
don't even know if he can rebound like he's been rebounding either. That's just crazy.
It's what happens when those big guys are out. Al Horford can't grab everything. But for me, I was watching. I don't know. I want to say this is just a guess, but we can go back and look. I think he had 5 assists in almost every game.
Yeah, you don't even have to look that up.
He was constantly passing the ball. The guy and then the triple doubles, but it wasn't mega triple doubles. It was 19, 11, and 10. Or
Yeah.
what. The thing is, he was constantly passing the ball and giving the other guys the opportunity. And to me, that was showing that he was a leader. However, Jalen showed up and took over with that I'm going to beat you and we're going to win this game attitude. And that's what Tatum lacks. Tatum lacks the killer instinct.
Do you think Jaylen Brown is better than Tatum?
No, he's not.
I don't think it's close, to be honest.
Yeah. So like his.
I
Finals,
love Jalen, but I don't think he's better than Tatum.
his finals
he-
are 16, 18, 31, 15, 31. Like it was the inconsistency.
Right, but look at those. What are the assists and
Or was that the
rebounds?
first one? Yeah, it was the finals.
What are the assists
He
in
had
the?
12 in the one. So he missed 3 in 1. He had 11. Wait, no, that's rebounds. My bad. He had 5, 12, 5, 3, 11.
5, 12, what? Oh.
5, 12, 5, 3, 11.
All right, so minus the 1-3, he had over 5 assists every. I've
Average
the guy
those
was
like 7.
passing the ball. He became a leader. That's what he realized. Like you can be a scorer, but you can also be an all well-rounded teammate and get your team to the next level. And that's what they did. I don't want to hear about people say, "Oh, they ran through the East because everybody was injured." They were the best team from the start of the season until the end of the season.
I think both things are true, though. I think that they, even if they did play those guys at full strength, they should have been the favorites in all those series. They did win the fucking title. There's nothing you can say about it. Dallas wasn't hurt. They won.
Yep. Dallas will be back too. Like I feel like Luka probably learned some. Like you can't sit there and cry all the time. Like get up off your ass, get up off. The
I wish it
floor
was Denver
and run back down.
I wish it was Denver.
I do too. I even
think
told
Dallas
Steve
got
last
hot.
year when they won. I was like, "Let's meet me against you next year." And
I think Dallas got hot and beat Denver. I don't think they beat Denver because they were the better team. I think Denver was. They looked a little tired from being in their second year in a row.
To me.
And then Dallas.
If you compare teams, it's not even close.
Well, the thing is like we talked about it on here when it was happening. We were like, is PJ Washington and Derrick Jones Jr. are they those guys that are playing this way, or are they hot right now? And the answer was they were hot.
Yeah.
For 2 playoff rounds, those guys look like legit 3 and 4. Look like they can drop 30. Not Derrick Jones so much, but Derrick Jones was playing great defense, rebounding the ball. PJ was dropping 30, fucking a couple times, consistently scoring, and then that just didn't happen. In Boston, and a lot of that has to do with you guys have a lot of good defenders, but a lot of it has to do with they just weren't those guys to begin with. And that's something we need to talk about when the NBA season comes near. I don't think Dallas is great at roster building at all.
Who?
Dallas.
But
Yeah,
we'll
Cuban-
talk about
Cuban-
that.
They
When
they got Clay now though.
Yeah.
not
Well,
worried about it. Not worried
He's a
about
way
it.
better Tim Hardaway Jr. I ain't trying to hear that.
yeah. Great. Does he play
Yeah.
defense?
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't think he can.
He might
anymore.
swipe a ball or two.
He says that he's still. He said that he's still an elite defender, and I'm like, I don't see it.
I don't know, man. I still think
used to be, though.
the Nuggets, the Nuggets are still the class of the West, and I think Minnesota's really going to like.
Minnesota learned. Minnesota
that's
was there a year too early, but they learned.
But that's the thing. Again, it's different sport progression.
You guys are all wrong.
That's got.
OKC, man.
Okay, yeah.
That's another. No,
I'm just
saying.
no, they can easily come out of the
Slide
West.
right in there.
The thing is, I still think healthy and roster-wise, the Nuggets are still the best team in the West.
That's only because they have the best player in the whole league.
Doesn't matter.
All right, we got to finish up.
All
but
right.
I want to talk about just quickly. Olympics basketball officially starts in 4 days. Game against Serbia. The exhibition games haven't looked the best, but they're exhibition games.
Dudes ain't trying like they're
yeah,
trying and beat a team by 62.
the
They don't care
Germany
about that.
game.
They said Schroeder cooked us though.
Schroeder
I don't know what the
and
stats
Patty
were.
Mills are 2 players that are just okay in the NBA, but as soon as international play starts, they're like
just the best.
They're just Kobe Bryant. They're just like insane. Like Patty Mills is nuts in the Olympics, but they as long as this isn't, I know they're old guys, so they're probably conserving. their
Braun looked
energy.
like Braun though. He was
Braun-
like reverse dunking
Dude,
and
he
shit.
scores a game winner, and then in the next day against Germany, 2 days later against Germany, we only win by 4, and he scores the last 11 points. Why does he have to do this? Like, why?
That's Braun.
But why? We have Tatum. We have Curry.
KD.
KD hasn't played.
Oh, he hasn't played?
He's waiting for the actual Olympics
Well,
to start. But
Well, that's why you figured it out.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying once again, USA basketball is in trouble, man.
It's not in trouble,
It's in
bro.
trouble.
It's.
in
I
trouble.
don't think it's in trouble.
Not
but-
this year. I'm talking
No,
about.
it's-
the
Oh no, in the
exhibition.
future
Okay.
it could
Yeah.
be. but-
Braun just did what he had to do. Curry isn't.
No, this year we're gonna win gold. I'm saying 4 years from now.
It's gonna be another gold.
All right, man.
Do you-
Tatum,
France
Brown.
is stacked.
All you have to look at right now, as far as these games are going, is like you're saying, like, oh, they're not trying. You know that it's not like full, all in type basketball because LeBron's not whining.
Yeah, that's true too.
I mean, I watch the games and normally he'd be like, oh my god, and he's just like. I think sometimes like he's still the man. He is a freak of nature. I say it
What's the
all
odds?
Oh, it's
probably
yeah,
minus 40,000.
yeah. I was gonna. There,
Nah,
there's
you just
there's
befuddled
no
yourself. That
reason
shit's
for
funny
that
as
team
hell.
40,000
to
is
not
crazy.
get gold. There's no reason for that team to not get gold.
That's easy gold. They're what are they doing? What's that word? They're for the FIBA team. Remember?
What do you mean?
They sucked.
The FIBA team was so the FIBA team. They use young guys. They get them used to the rules during FIBA, and then they groom them for the Olympics.
Ant-Man said he was the number 1 option on Team USA.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
He believes in himself, and that's fine because he's
Yeah, but Braun had to
but-
score the last 11 points. That's
But
crazy.
again, learning.
Seasoned
these
vet.
guys, these
Yeah.
guys are, I'm the big show, so to speak, and once they get up there, and just like these guys would, like Magic and Larry would say, "Hey, man, there's this other guy over here that's coming into the league. He's taking over." And that same stuff. LeBron and KD are probably like, "Hey, this was our league, but now you got to start looking at Ant-Man and some of these other guys." But Ant-Man shouldn't be saying that himself.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
Yeah, go
where
make it
You have
happen.
to learn, make it
Even
happen.
Kobe didn't say that shit. He went out there and just did it. Like he worked. Just why are you saying that? Be Kobe then. Knock on these motherfuckers' doors at 5 a.m.
100%.
Don't say it in the fucking in the.
That's why-
It's because he was a former cornerback. That's what it is. All those motherfuckers are so cocky. You should have just don't say it.
Yeah.
Don't say
You,
it.
you know what would be the worst, like the best
now
thing
he's
for
gonna
him, man? Knock on LeBron's door. He's supposed to be the leader of the team. Knock on his door at fucking 5 a.m.
Yeah, let's go shoot.
Set the fucking
Yeah.
tone. If that's the guy you want to be, if you want to be the leader of Team USA in the future, you don't fucking say it.
Yeah.
You go and
Do it.
Yeah,
you
there's
have
not a
to
Kobe
you
on it.
have to
Yeah.
live. There's a saying that I heard. I don't know if it was, I forget who said it. If Peyton said it or somebody said it about Barry Bonds, whatever it is, it's if you're good, you'll talk about it. If you're great, they'll talk about it.
yeah.
And that's really what those guys have to do. Let everybody else talk about you. If you're great, people will recognize
Just
that.
show up and do it.
Yeah,
That's
just
what
do it.
I
Yeah.
want to see.
Show on the floor, show
Ain't-
on the field, show on the court. Whatever
Ain't you
it
a
is.
kid? Like let these he's not better than these dudes. Like
but if he thinks he is, he needs to don't say it. Yeah,
Yeah.
go
that's what
go
I'm saying.
bust their fucking
Go show
ass.
it. Yeah.
But like LeBron came on the team at fucking when he like scrimmaged them at 16 years old, and they said he was balling on everyone. It's like you got to prove it. Yeah, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring that up. We'll see how it goes. I mean, our
I didn't watch
group,
no exhibition games, but I'm gonna watch the Olympics.
I didn't watch really
Yeah.
any. The first group is a joke. We play Serbia, South Sudan again, so they're gonna win that game by 50 because they're gonna show everyone
they should
that
let
they shouldn't.
they should let the starters play for like 5-6 minutes and get them off the
And
court.
then
Why is Steve Kerr the coach?
Puerto Rico,
Dude's always the coach.
because he was the assistant under Pop.
Oh, okay.
But the one thing that Austin Rivers
Pop
said that
was
I
just
thought
like,
was
nah.
a good. He's just old now. Austin Rivers had said that was a. Oh wait, no, was Coach K the head coach and Pop was an assistant?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think it was Coach K was the head
Yeah.
coach and Pop was an assistant.
That's crazy.
But
That's nuts.
I
Coach
will
K-
say,
He is the man.
I will say, college coaches are more in tune with. I won't say in tune, but it's the college game is more similar to the foreign game. It's ball movement. You get called for
Style.
carrying.
The
You
style.
get called, the style of play. So Austin Rivers said it was on Pat McAfee. He said it was like these guys have been playing together since they were 13 years old. 1, 2, it's about ball movement. How many of those Spurs teams did we see? Like the Spurs teams that beat those Miami teams, they weren't more talented. They moved the ball and they got open shots. That's why USA will struggle sometimes. Like you see the first team that lost that got bronze with AI and all those guys because they're just ISO ball. It's just like I'm the best player,
I
so I'm
hate
not going to
ISO
pass
ball.
it. But that's how most NBA. It's like ISO screen. If the pick and roll's out there, shoot a 3. There's not a lot of ball movement, and then when you get to an international game, you can struggle with that. So
I read maybe 4 different articles this week where they were all saying that these games are way too close because these guys are used to playing iso ball.
yeah, you like that.
That's literally it.
you
Literally
need
said
that.
ISO ball is the worst shit
Dude,
ever.
Carmelo Anthony and all those guys. It's
But
literally
but
the
thing is-
same
but
thing.
They were
Melo-
good,
But
but
when
the-
Melo got to the Olympics, that's not how he played. Melo
Right.
played as a
Melo-
spot-up
Melo-
shooter.
Melo played smart in
and
the
then
Olympics.
he did score a lot. He was not. I won't say he was a spot-up shooter because he had a major role in those teams. I think he still has the record for most Olympic points ever. But you play your role. He wasn't ball heavy. He wasn't ball dominant.
When he got
but
the
that's
ball.
because
He was the Jason Tatum of the NBA
yeah,
Finals.
yeah. But that's because they had the leader. That I think that's the one thing that Kobe was always better than LeBron at. It was being a leader. Like LeBron plays a leader, but I don't think he truly. I'm not gonna say he's not, but he's not to the point of. Sometimes you need to be dominant. Like Kobe is like, this is how we're fucking playing. We are playing
Exactly.
defense.
If you
These
don't
guys,
like it, go sit
these
down.
guys
Yeah,
were
if you're-
out there.
if you're
They
not
were out
playing
there being
defense-
assassins, man.
If you're not playing defense,
Yeah.
get the fuck off the court.
Yeah.
Like, simple as that. If you like, move the ball. So we'll see though.
Yeah.
Maybe we get in and there's the ball's moving out because if Team USA plays like a team and they move the ball around,
It'd be impossible to beat
Oh
that.
my God!
There's not
How many open shots is Devin Booker gonna get? How many fucking open shots is Curry gonna get? How many open lanes is fucking LeBron and Anthony Edwards gonna have to dunk on people's heads? Like, if they get going the way they can, man, I'm excited.
I would like to
the
really
first
see
group
them
sucks.
feature Steph. Like this would be a like.
And Steph's a perfect player too. Have him moving around on
Oh my
screens,
God,
just
he's
getting
so
open.
good.
The reason why Steph's so good is because he can do. He'll shoot the ball.
He'll do whatever you need him
or
to
he'll
do.
Pass it. He'll even go get a rebound for you.
I'm excited, but the first group's gonna be a joke. We don't like Puerto Rico's like, come on.
Yeah.
But I can't wait for after that.
What division are you guys gonna do next pod?
So we were supposed to do NFC West this time, but I did North for you. So we'll do AFC North just to keep it, and then we'll go to the West.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, if you want to come on next week as well.
Sure.
more
Thank
than
you.
welcome.
Thanks for having me.
But yeah, I got some shit to do. This went a little bit longer than I thought.
Yeah, we're good stuff,
Yeah, it
man.
was
Good stuff.
Good good This was one of the longest pods in a long time.
Yeah.
But we got some good talk going.
We didn't even get a chance to like offer each other trades. Like I asked this dude, what's it going to take to get pick 3 over here?
You have 2?
Yeah.
I thought you had it. So
I was looking to see what I could do to get 2 and 3, but I also asked
Oh,
you what
no.
you would give me to move back.
I'll give you 6, 2, 1 in
What-
first next year.
all right, I thought. See, I misunderstood.
No,
what
no,
you were
there
saying.
2 options. I would love to get pick 3 to have 2 and 3, but I would also flip with you.
I won't move back because I think they fall off after the top 3
That-
guys.
and
It's
that's what
pretty
you had
big.
said
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
fall off. So
Get 2, and I'll give you 6, 2, 1 in the first next year.
6 the first of this year and a first next year. No, because you're gonna actually
wait, what
be
is what do
okay
you mean?
next
What
year.
is 6-2?
No, 6, pick 6.
Oh, pick 6 this
2,
year.
1,
Oh,
and then a
so you're
first next
talking
year.
okay. So you're talking 6, 13, and a first.
Yes.
Hmm.
What's up?
All right, we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
I
I was
gotta go
saying,
though.
now we'll
Thank
talk
you
to-
so much, Billy, for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Hopefully, Harry will have an okay back by the next time over. And yeah, we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Appreciate you. Trap Nerd Sports everywhere.
Peace.
Peace.